ever. It's freaking awesome.
Welcome to the club, buddy.
Holy shit, it is. No way! No way! Dude!
We just pulled out a SOQ 1927.
Looks pretty sweet.
To see it happen.
Oh my god. Be old.
1856.
Wow. Holy crap.
Shit.
Dude.
That's a good way to break into the 1800s.
1899. He did it.
Dude, I bailed out of my tree to dig this.
Oh, that's a flying eagle, I think.
1858.
What's up, guys? Hoarder here, coming at you with Dog Tag Doug, Mexican Doug, Jane, Fond Doug, Brian, and Chandler on our first time ever on the VC Variety Show. I don't know what else we're doing, so I'm going to let Chandler and Brian take it away.
What's going on? Thank you, Jason, for that awesome intro. I had to have him do it, everybody. How can you blame me? I mean, there's no one that does that intro as well as that, nor will there ever be. Huge thank you, Jason and Doug, for coming on. We totally appreciate it here at VC Variety. We're fired up to have you. I hope you guys are ready to talk about metal detecting and just have a good night hanging out and everything. As we go through the stream, Jason, I know you said you have the comments up with you, so hopefully you guys will be able to see comments and respond to them as well. Feel free to ask us any questions as well. Otherwise, the floor is yours. Brian, take it away.
Thanks again, guys. I think I've probably been watching you the longest, or close to the longest of anybody on YouTube as far
Thanks.
as. Yeah. I mean, a friend of mine kind of turned me on to you guys, and love it every time. And I'd say the last, I don't know, you can tell me for sure, 3 or 4 episodes I've seen kind of revolved around the field of 1,000 holes or 1,000,000 holes or whatever. And we were talking a little bit off air about that field and how you found it and the background. Maybe people watching would like to know a little bit more about it, you know. So take it away.
Well, Doug, you can tell them how we found it because that was Doug's spot, and it's been incredible. So give them a little background, Doug.
Well, I get around quite a bit with the work that I do, and I'm always got my head on a spindle. If I see something that looks great, I mark it down, and when I get the opportunity, I stop and ask somebody if I could hunt that property. And this happened to be a huge farm field. I don't know what the total acreage is. What would you guess, Jay? 20, 30 acres, somewhere around there?
Something like that. It's a good size.
It's a good sized property. It's very deep. It's not quite as wide as it is deep. But there was an old house, and I'm guessing early 1900s house on the property. But the time I spent looking in the yard was frustrating. Nothing but trash, and it's all over the place. So when I walked out into the field after I obtained the permission, I noticed things on the surface. They looked interesting. Then I did go back for a few minutes with a metal detector and found a couple interesting items. And I said to Jay, I said, this could be a good spot. Jay wasn't as enthused immediately.
I'll try anywhere, but right. I try to be realistic, and I look at some of the spots. And, when you pull up to an old house and you see like refrigerators on the front lawn and busted stoves and, an 18-wheeler with just things spilled out onto the lawn. Like I think for every one thing I see on top of the ground, how much of that junk is under the ground? Right. So I was not really too excited about the house because there's just so much junk around.
Right.
And when we researched it, I didn't see anything in those fields. No old houses, no old roads, nothing. So, Doug said he saw some stuff on the surface. I figured, what the heck? We'll go check it out. Every spot is worth investigating. And man, we just got so lucky. I think when they clear cut the trees, probably back in the 20s or so, to make more farm, we think they brought in dirt. They probably bought fill dirt that was sifted, but not sifted so much where coins and small relics got taken out, but enough where you're not going to get tires and hubcaps and big junk, because there's none of that stuff around. So it was fairly clean fill with small pieces in there and just loaded. I mean, you know, we literally did pull 1,000 things out of there. That's why I call it the field of 1,000 holes. And, you know, you kind of alluded that the last 4 videos were, but I actually started putting the videos up last year when we first got on there. I think I got 14 videos from that place, and I still have like 5 left, but I'm going to probably, you know, stop putting them up for a little while because, you know, now we're on some other spots and have more age, and I want to kind of bounce back and forth, you know, some really old stuff and then this Depression era stuff, just so people don't find it monotonous. But it's just such an amazing selection of coins and tokens and silver spoons and marbles, and I find it amazing and just love going there.
Yeah, it's hard to beat sites like that. I know I had one in Michigan. It was very similar to that. I would say maybe field of 200 holes, not 1,000. But I got to ask, you know, is that coin that you found in your video yesterday, have you had that authenticated yet, or are you
not yet? It'll be this weekend, hopefully, and we'll see. And I'll definitely update everybody. I have my suspicions. It just doesn't look period to me,
right?
But it's worth checking out, right? What's that going to, you know, what's that going to hurt? It just looks too. I think it's pewter, but it looks plated. The original ones were pewter, but weren't plated. So, you know, I don't know. If I had to guess, I'd say I'm pretty sure it's not real, but hey, everything's worth checking out, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
No, I missed the one last night. What do you think you found?
Oh, you got to watch it. No spoilers.
It's a good one. You're going to want to watch it, Brian.
Yeah,
I would recommend it.
Yeah, even without that coin, I thought the video was still a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There was some still really good finds. You know, when I edit all this stuff, I try to watch it back objectively, and I try to edit it a lot, even though they're long. I mean, I put out long videos, 25 minutes, sometimes a half hour. But, you know, I try to edit them to keep it moving, to keep it fun. I edit mostly me because I talk so much. And sometimes I'll be watching a clip and I'll be like, geez, shut up. You're just going on and on and on. But, you know, I get excited and we're talking about it. So I do a lot of editing me down. You know, the videos are, you know, manipulated in the sense where I like it to flow a certain way. You know, if we're recording in the moment, let's say Doug finds 4 good things in a row. I don't want to have 4 Doug clips in a row. So I'll move things around and then I have to watch it back and make sure it makes sense. You know, if Doug's second find alludes to something that Paul found, but I didn't show it yet, it doesn't make sense. So, you know what I mean? Like, you got to make it tell a story and seem chronological because, you know, it's about metal detecting, but you still want it to be entertaining. You want it to be fun. You want it to make sense. So, you know, each one's like a little tiny, you know, fun little movie. I love putting them together. I love sharing it with people. I love the interaction. The whole thing is just such a fun hobby to get into.
Yeah, I'm the same way. You know, I really like my videos to, like you said, flow in that certain way to where they tell a story that not only makes sense, but where it's not, hey, this is what Brian found. Hey, we're back with Brian again. You'll never guess who it is. Brian's back again. You know, which is normally how it goes. But
well, that's fine. That's fine. But we try to mix it in. And, you know, if Doug's finding a lot and I'm not finding a lot, I might cut away and do like a little talking head thing just for a minute. So it's not, you know, a continuation of Doug over and over, because anything like that gets monotonous. You just want to mix it up, you know, have some sort of a break in there. You know, and for a metal detecting channel, you know, I don't show a lot of metal detecting stuff. Like, you don't really see a lot of the machines, and I don't go over settings. That's not really my thing. So I try to get maybe a live dig or 2 in, you know, so it's not just like, hey, look at this dirty thing in my hand. Look at the next dirty thing in my hand. But then I also have to be aware that not everybody watches necessarily cares about what mode you're in. They don't know anything about that stuff. So
Right.
I try to put just enough in so they know what we're doing, but not so much that it's too technical for them. So, if you're a metal detecting guy, you're like, man, what settings are you using? What mode are you in? But I can't dwell on that too much, because then the rest of the people, the majority that don't do it, they don't understand and they don't care, and they lose interest.
Yeah, I get it. Myself, whenever I try and live stream something or live dig something, it's never anything desirable usually. And at least here in Nebraska, I've had a really tough time just hammering down those really, cool, good things. Everyone wants to see a silver quarter pop out when you live dig something, but a lot of the times I don't think people really understand that that's the case. When we put live digs in our videos, people are like, wow, they must find that stuff all the time. It's like, no, we have five gallon buckets of trash in the back of our cars that don't make it into each video. But
oh yeah, we film a lot, and I always say, I'd rather come over and film too much stuff and have to trash it than miss, a good find. So, I ask all the guys, I say, look, if you get a really good signal, let me record it. We could always trash it. Doug's really good about it. Doug will call me over for every good signal, and I'll usually capture them unless my camera batteries are dying at the end of the day. But like, Paul, he doesn't always call me over until after the fact. And I gotta, just say, come on, Paul, let's have some fun. He thinks it's bad luck, to do the live digs.
Yep. The live dig curse.
So, and even my live digs, I even cut them down because, if you don't find it on the first scoop and you're fishing around for 3 minutes, to the non-metal detecting people, that's not real exciting. So even my live digs are still, I got to cut it up. I got to keep it moving. So they're not really live in the sense where you're seeing the whole thing, but you're seeing when we first heard the signal, maybe cutting into the ground, maybe seeing the coin in a clump, busting it out, like the highlights of the live dig, just to kind of give you the experience.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There is, Doug, a comment here for you. It says, Dog Tag, Doug, Jane Fine Doug, Mexican Doug, what is your oldest coin? Digging Juggernaut would like to know. And I mean, we can all answer that too. It doesn't have to be just Doug.
Well, I guess my oldest is a 1697 William and Mary copper British coin. I'm guessing it's a 97. It's somewhere 94 to 97. So, but that's my oldest copper coin. My oldest silver is 1760, and no, I'm sorry, 1757 half real. And it's fun. It's funny. I found that half real on a farm field, and about an hour later, the quarter hoarder trumps me with a 1 real. It wasn't quite as old, but he's always got to be better.
That was hey, I said yours was better. We just happened to both get one. I mean,
yours looked better, but we could see the dates, and that's important.
Yeah, that was pretty exciting. I mean, reals, we find reals enough. I'm not going to say they're common by any means, but we find a small handful every season. But I think that was the first time we've ever found, two guys found one the same hunt.
Day. Yeah.
So it was pretty exciting, so we had a little real off, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Doug's was older. Mine was a little bigger.
Yeah. I remember Nick was the exact same way because the day that I found my gold coin, he had just found his first large cent. So we were fired up for him, finding your first large cent. I mean, especially in Michigan, right? There's not too many
not
of them.
A whole lot of them.
There's enough, but not too many. And so he was fired up. And then like 10, 15 minutes later was when I popped out the gold coin. And he's like, you just couldn't let me have it for one day. And I was like, nope, I guess not.
No,
I guess
it
not.
was destined to be.
Yep, that's right. So, Jason, what's your oldest coin?
My oldest one doesn't have a date on it. Mine's a King William III. It's probably 1699, something like that. It's real slick. So, I'm not exactly sure. I don't have a William and Mary, which is the one just before that. Definitely in the area. We hunt in those areas, but sometimes you'll find coins that they're old because they're just so slick you can't even tell what the heck it is. It looks like an electrical punch out. So who knows? I might have one. But the William III, I actually have like 2 or 3 William IIIs. None of them, they're all barely legible. So I don't know the exact date. And my oldest silver, I don't know offhand. It's got to be a silver real, so somewhere in that 1750s, 60s range. I'm not sure what the oldest one is. I'm not much of a coin guy. I'm more of
Relic.
I remember all the relics I have and where I got it and who I was with. The coins kind of run together in my mind. So I don't know offhand. It's kind of weird, I guess.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, when you find as much, cool stuff as, you guys do, especially, finding coppers that you look at and you go, well, yep, that's a copper. And, you can't get anything else off it. I understand. Jeremy Nagel, what's up, man? He says, what's up, Quarter Hoarder? Love your videos.
What's up, man? Thank you.
Brian, what's your oldest coin? I don't know. I can't remember yours off the top of my head.
It's 1794, 5 cent times from France. Right. Copper. It's a big copper, which I thought it was a large cent. It was in a field that shouldn't have been that old, but yeah, every once in a while. And then in silver, 1830 seated somewhere in there. I don't remember the exact.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, mine's a 1772 1 real, and that's in both ways, silver coin and not silver coin.
Oh, that's cool.
Found that in North Carolina when we were there for Digstock Mini last year. So that was one of the things I wanted to find. I wanted to find part of a shoe buckle frame, a real, and a slave tag if they had them there, which I'm sure those are super, super rare to begin with. And I just worked the iron patch for as long as I could, dug anything that was not iron, and sure enough, out popped a real. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, those are nice. They're exciting. We call each other over for a lot of things. But yeah, the reals are really cool. They're just so old. It was before we were a country. It just brings you back to a whole nother era. We were still colonists, and that's really exciting to get those old silver coins like that.
Yeah. I wish there's more of them in Michigan, or Nebraska either for that matter too.
Yeah, you're going the wrong direction.
I know. Yeah. Unfortunately, hopefully I can get on, some Oregon Trail or something like that. I know it's around here where I'm living out here. I just got to find maps for it and everything too. Doug, another question for you. What is your oldest dog tag?
1899.
There you go. That's older than mine.
Well, I just saw somebody posted on one of the not YouTube, but Facebook parties, put an 1898 up, and it was pretty good shape. Saw the picture of it, but I'm looking. I know they go back to the late 1700s, so I'll keep looking.
Yeah, that's cool.
Doug runs his machine.
It's been a while since I found one, so it's.
Yeah, you haven't found one in a while.
Not in a while. Although I did find something I think was one today, but I'll show it to you later.
You got to run your machine in dog tag mode.
And I've been in coin mode a lot lately, so I guess you're right.
Jake from the Wanderers says that his oldest is 1897. So
nice.
He's got you there. He was the one you found. What you found today, you got to show him.
Oh, okay.
He'll like it.
Is he?
He's in here.
Can you see him?
There you go. Not one, but 2 of the Crodal bells.
Yeah.
Rubbing the salt in the wound.
And the fellow I was hunting with came over after the first one. He says, "Oh, that's on my bucket list." So I really felt bad when I told him I had another one. I said, "I think you might throw me off the property," but he's a good guy, and he was happy for me.
That's good.
Now, was his 1897 an Indian, or was it a barber or a nickel?
I think he's talking about oldest dog tag is
Oh,
at 1897.
dog tag.
Oh, a dog tag. Oh,
Mhm.
Yeah,
man. Everyone's trumping you tonight, Doug.
Yeah, exactly. I got to get busy, man.
I texted him. I told me to send me a picture of it, and if he sends me a picture, I'll throw it up here on the stream so you guys can take a look at it.
Okay.
Mhm.
So you've been added. I can't think of the gentleman's name. I've talked to him before. That publishes the book or works to publish the books every year. What's his name?
Chris.
Neil? Is it Chris?
Chris
Okay.
Altman.
Oh no, not Chris Altman. That does the dog tag. Books.
I don't.
Yeah,
know
there's a guy that's in a lot of the groups, and there's this dog tag book, and they list it by oldest for every township in the United States.
Really?
So he's actually seen a couple of the old ones I've done, and he said, "Okay, I'm going to put that in the book if you don't mind." So if you get it published, you can see your name in there multiple times.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a book or someone who was
I
putting
didn't
something like
either.
that together. You have to send me
Yeah,
the link
there's a whole
afterwards. I'd love to
club.
see it.
Yeah, there's a whole club that collects dog tags. It's a big thing.
Really?
There was one guy who emails me once in a while. I forget his name. That he keeps track of all the dog tags. I didn't know he was. Maybe it's the same guy. I didn't
It's
realize
probably
he was
the same
putting a
guy.
book together.
I think he lives in Oregon.
Yeah,
If
I'd
it's
have to
that
look
guy,
through
yeah.
the email. It's probably him because he had like a whole website.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, it was probably him. I didn't realize he was putting a physical book together. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It gets it might just get published for the club. I don't know, but it's neat. I've got a couple in there. My oldest is 1900, but anyway.
Yeah, they're fun to have, especially they have the dog's
Yeah.
name on it too, or the homeowner's name on it. It kind of makes it even that more special.
Or if it's
Alright.
number one, if it's like.
Well, we never found a
Yeah.
number one.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm like, oh, there you go.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I can't see it. I'm blind as a bat. Hold on.
Is that Michigan?
Yep, that's it.
Manistee?
Yep,
Yeah.
Manistee, Michigan. Dog tag number 40 from 1897. Mm-hmm.
Wow,
That is so cool.
that's a cool shape too.
Yes, it is.
It's really unique. That's super cool.
Yeah, I'm like a total loser. I think my oldest dog tag is like from the 1920s or something. So I'm not even in the conversation. Usually, if I get over a dog tag signal, I mark the spot and say, "Doug, go over there." Like a kid looking for an Easter egg. I want him to have it.
Yeah, he likes to take care of the old man.
Well,
what's
somebody
the most-
has to, right?
What's that?
I said somebody has to, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. They watch out for me.
What's the most
Doug's
memorable?
Doug's more handsome. He's the handsome guy in the group. I like him
Yeah, right.
on video more. He brings in the ladies.
Yeah.
I always figured that going through your channel, your analytics, it would say female viewers when Doug's on the screen, male viewers, the
Yeah,
rest
it
of
goes
the
way
time.
up. It
Yeah,
goes way up.
just
Yep.
straight off the charts, right?
I won't even tell you Paul's best demographic. It's embarrassing, but
Oh boy.
If Paul's watching, how you doing, Paul?
yeah, I don't know if he's here or not. I can't see the chat. I have to glance over.
I haven't seen him in here yet. Be cool if he was though.
Yep.
Oh, I see Amanda Degas is in there.
Oh yeah.
She's cool. She's going to be in the area. One of there's a local hunt they do twice a year in a really historic, rich area. She's coming down from Maine, to do that hunt. We were just talking, Doug and I, if we're going to be able to make it over there this year or not. So hopefully I can get over there and see her. If not, usually one of the guys I hunt with, Charlie, does like a big barbecue at his house after the hunt because he lives in that area. So it's nice to see people like that, when they're coming in from out of state. Who else did you say was coming down for that, Doug, that hunt?
Karen.
Oh, yeah, Karen, who we met
from,
up at Dig
Vermont?
Stock. And
Yep.
we might have met her in Oklahoma, too. I don't remember.
I don't remember seeing her in Oklahoma, but we talked quite a bit up at Digstock.
All right.
She's
So hopefully we
definitely-
can get out there. She's good people, though.
Yes.
How was the Oklahoma event? Because I heard about that, and I wanted to get out there, but that was right when I was moving from Michigan to Nebraska, so I wasn't able to get out there. Was that a pretty good event?
I liked it a lot. I don't know if you've ever been to Oklahoma in the middle of the summer. It was tough.
Ungodly
Temperature wise was tough. It was like in the 90s. It was humid.
very humid.
That part was hard, but whenever you get a big gathering of other detectorists, I mean, you're having such a good time meeting people, talking shop, seeing the vendors. You almost don't notice the temperature and things like that. So, I mean, I had a really good time. When we go, we don't get to detect as much, because if people come up to you, I like to give everybody attention. I'm going to put down what I'm doing and talk. And so I don't get a lot of detecting time in it, and that's fine. So I don't know how they did in the fields, but I really enjoyed myself. Doug, how about you?
Oh, it was great. It was a nice experience. They had a few things that, since it was their first hunt, organized hunt, I'm sure they'll work out the kinks on the next one. But I had a great time and met a lot of nice people. And other than the heat, it was really a fun time.
And we rented an Airbnb for us to stay in. Nothing was gorgeous. It was wasn't that a nice place, Doug?
It was really nice.
We stayed in some dumps, and this place was nice.
It was.
So we really got. Remember the last place we stayed at, Doug, where we were all in one room, and the beds were like in cubbies against the wall. Like there was only curtains between us all.
I felt like I was in an 1800s ship.
Yeah, we were in it was like a shack, but it wasn't even old. It was just like, It was like a tiny hunter's cabin that we rented. We were all crammed in there.
It was fun though. We made it fun.
Yeah, we survived. We're we're survivors, Doug.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Airbnb is the way to go. When we went to North Carolina for Dig Stock Mini, we stayed in like a 8-bedroom house from like the early 1900s or whatever. Unfortunately, it was so tucked in a neighborhood, you couldn't hardly even swing a coil in the yard.
Right.
And what we did find in the yard wasn't, anything cool, but it was really fun staying in a, older house like that. Yeah. With all the guys, I don't know. It's just all part of the experience, right?
Yep.
When you go somewhere, it's all part of it. I mean, anyone can stay in a Holiday Inn, anywhere in the country, but when you get to be in a time period, area house, it's a lot better.
Yeah, we do. Every time we go somewhere, I'm a big fan of the Airbnbs. I don't like hotels. They're too noisy and stuffy. We had that nice one, Doug, when we went to that event in Emporium. You remember that one?
Yeah.
That was a really nice house.
Really
It wasn't that old. We tried detecting the ground, but it was so rocky.
Yeah.
And when we were in there the second night, a bat got into the house and was flying around. And there was like 5 grown men there. You would have thought we were all 7-year-old girls. We're like, somebody get out. It took us like 20 minutes to get this bat out of the house.
I wanted Jason to release that video. It was pretty fun.
I recorded the whole thing. I was, I'm tall, so it's going to hit me first. So I just dropped to the ground and pulled my phone out and was recording the bat flying around, Paul trying to jump and like wing like pillows at it. I don't know what Doug was doing.
I was cowering.
Kevin Dowd was there. He had a Mind Lab bag. He was trying to scoop the bat into this Mind Lab bag. Oh wow! It was fun. It was fun.
Like a bunch of little girls for sure. That was funny.
I wish, nothing that exciting happened to us. We just slept all night. Boy, we must have been doing the whole Airbnb thing wrong then.
Well, this place was like it was desolate where we were, wasn't it, Doug?
Yeah, it was.
To get to the house that we rented.
Oh, it was
like a 2-mile drive down a dirt road, and I said, Doug, this has got to be wrong. And then all of a sudden, this big, beautiful house just pops up, and that was it. But it was literally in the middle of nowhere.
Right. But it was fun. And we did a live stream that night. Do you remember?
Yeah, we did a live stream. They had good internet.
And it worked out well.
Yeah. That was our last live stream. That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah. Jeez.
While ago. So another question for you: Do you guys prefer doing fields, or would you rather be out in the woods? Or you know, if you could get the same quality of finds in a yard, without, I guess, it being in a yard, if that makes sense, is that where you'd rather be, or what's your favorite places to hunt, really?
Jay,
Yeah, Doug, you can go first.
anywhere where the guys are willing to go. I'm not so much. I'm not so much the woods as the fields and the farm houses and some of the older houses that we've gotten on. Anywhere where we feel like we have an opportunity to dig something old, I'm all for it. And it seems as though the summer we get more on the homes, the
Right.
yards, what have you, because the fields are all occupied with corn or soybeans
Mhm.
or vegetables or something. And then, we get into the fields usually during the winter months, as long as the temperature is conducive for it. But I don't care wherever these guys want to go. I try to get a variety myself so that we're not like pigeonholed into the same situation all the time. And that Thousand Holes field has really worked wonders for us. So,
So
Yeah,
what's
Yeah,
your
that field's amazing. Yeah, I'm with Doug. I mean, I don't really, I'm not too picky. And there's I guess I might like doing houses best only because now I've got different scenery in the background. I like to mix it up to have different things behind me and in front of me. Where farm fields, I mean, sometimes it just looks like you're in the middle of the desert. So for the video portion of it, it kind of adds some depth, you know what I mean, and just vast openness. But I like the farm fields. I mean, it's easy digging. I mean, you don't
yeah,
have to
you
be
don't have to
super
worry about a
clean with your
plug.
hole. I like them a lot. And the woods are challenging because tree roots are tough. I mean, inevitably, there's always a good signal under your tree root, and they can be tough to dig through, along with the ticks and the chigger. I had a terrible case of chiggers like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Oh, it was horrible. So we haven't done woods in a long time, and Doug's really been kind of wanting to do some water detecting. He wanted to do it last year. We never made it, so maybe this year we might incorporate some water detecting. I'm not talking about like deep sea diving, but like
No,
Right.
maybe waist deep or shallower. We have a lot of good creeks that go right by old mills and colonial houses. I was always hesitant because it's hard to film that. I need all new camera gear because I like to record things in the moment. I don't want to find something and have to walk back to the shore because the excitement is dissipated.
Mhm.
So over winter, I bought new waterproof cameras and waterproof microphones, and I can't wait to see Doug in a scuba outfit. So we're ready now.
he just wants to see me in my banana hammock.
oh boy.
That'll be number one video right up to the top there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'll lose about
That's the
50,000 viewers.
thumbnail. That's the thumbnail.
There you go. That would be quite the thumbnail. I don't know. I can't decide what my initial reaction would be if I logged on into my subscriptions and all I
nausea.
saw was Doug in a striped banana hammock. I'd be like, well, is my girlfriend around? Can I watch this while she's here?
She's welcome to join you.
Yeah. I'll let her know that you send your kind regards, Doug.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah, water detecting would be awesome. I wanted to try it in Michigan. There's some places where I think you could probably get away with it pretty well, but at the end of the day, I don't know what sort of, I don't know. I guess I've never thought too much into it. I mean, especially out here, there's not really a whole lot of creeks where you can just jump in and be like, oh yeah, there was a lot of old stuff here. Where out by you guys there is and everything. But I mean, Brian, have you thought much about it or?
I used to do with my AT a little bit, waist high, but I'm not a big fan
Yeah.
only because it's just it's extra stuff. You're dealing with that scoop. It's kind of like when I used to bow hunt fish in the water. You're kind of looking down through the water, trying to figure out where it's at. It's not my thing. I mean, If I were to do it, I would do it underwater completely. That way I can see it.
Really?
Yeah. But,
Now, I'm just the opposite. I feel like if we're no more than waist deep, and more ankle or knee deep, we can better see the target, easier to extract, and easier to get around. But I like the idea for summer because some of the days here get really, really hot, and that's a good way to stay cool while you're detecting. And we have in Bucks County at least a couple major creeks that are loaded with history, old crossings, old swimming holes. It's just a ton of areas that we could utilize, and I think be very productive.
So can you guys like see that stuff on the old maps where there was an old river crossing or where there was an old steamboat stop, or can you guys see that stuff on the maps and stuff that you research, or is that stuff not on there?
No,
Some maps there are, not all the maps, but some there are. But a lot of times, if there's a crossing, there might still be the pillars on each side, but the bridge is gone.
Okay.
Or if there's an old grist mill, that building might still be there, abandoned or decaying. So there was activity bustling around. I haven't done water hunting yet, so there's probably things about it that I don't know, and you don't know until you try it once. Then you're like, oh well, we should have did this instead of that. That's a learning curve for me.
Yeah.
So we're gonna find out. I mean, I want to do it this year, because like Doug said, it gets so hot, and when you're disgusting and sweating in some stranger's yard, that's awkward.
Right.
So it'd be nice to cool off. It'll also be nice because most people, or at least I've never seen anyone detecting in a creek, in our areas. So that might be nice virgin ground, someplace. Right. And even if it was detected before, because of the tides and the streams, it might, circle and rotate around. So I don't know. We've never done it. It'll be a new little adventure, and we'll see how it works out. Hopefully this will be the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only ever tried it once, and it was January. Yeah, I think it was January when I tried it. We had a warm Christmas, and so I was out in a field, and I was like, well, why not? So I put boots on because the home site was like right kind of in the middle of the field, and the creek went right around the house and everything. And I was like, well, you never know. And I didn't find anything in there. A couple bullets, but they were modern bullets. But on go ahead.
No, I have a pair of waders, but I figure if I got to use them in the winter, I still have to reach down in the water that's freezing. I just as soon wait till it gets nice and warm and can feel comfortable, without going into hypothermia.
Yeah, that was my number one takeaway from it as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
But our maps anyway, they don't really show, at least I haven't seen any. Brian, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I have not seen any that have like stops from a steamboat or, river crossings. Jason, like you said, there are, pillars or, maybe an old building, but our maps, they don't go back far enough to where I've seen that. Brian,
some of the specialized maps around like metropolitan areas, like for us here, like Ada, north of Grand Rapids, some of those places on the river on the Grand, they show things. Yeah, there is at least a mention of it.
Mm-hmm.
That was something I was going to ask you guys. Like, how far back do your maps go there that still show home sites? I mean, do you get into the 1700s at all, or no?
I have some 1700s maps. They're hand drawn. When I overlay them on modern maps, I can tell they're not real accurate. The way the rivers run, it doesn't line up. I can't imagine the river changed that much, because, once you get into like the 1830s or so, the maps are pretty good. I mean, they're still hand drawn, but I mean, you can overlay them and see waterways and things that don't change that much over time. But the 1700 maps they can be tough. It's more of just, maybe to try to locate an old home site when you pick up a 100-acre farm permission. and looking for a little dot out there of a home site, or maybe a schoolhouse, or a toll house, something like that. But I wouldn't put a whole lot of credence in it where I'm going to GPS that little dot and head right out. You kind of get a general idea, and you put boots on the ground, and you got to go walk it.
Mm-hmm.
We had a spot last year. We knew there was an old colonial road that went through this field. We had no idea where it was. Wasn't even on the maps. And we got there and we walked those fields all day long. We weren't finding nothing. And then, like an hour before dark, we got on some things. I think Charlie found a crotal bell, called us over, and we came over and looked at it. And then someone else found a crotal bell, and then someone else, and someone else. And I think we ended up with like 22 crotal bells in a little area. And then we slowly started spreading out, and large cents, shoe buckles, reals. So we knew we were there. And we went back the next week, and man, we killed it. I think we left maybe 50 copper coins.
Wow.
I think I have 4 or 5 videos of that spot.
All kind of buttons.
Yeah, pistarines, maybe 100 buttons, silver reals, Liberty caps up and down the board of large cents. But we just had a general idea, and it took us 8 hours of walking around, and then we finally found it. And then once you find it, you follow the signals. You put your machine in all metal, and you're listening for nails, you're listening for junk to kind of guide you into where that structure once stood. And then, once you're finding all those little junk signals, well, then you can really concentrate on that area. That's how we try to do it. If we don't know exactly where something was, you got to, just kind of put boots on the ground.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, our maps, like I said, they don't go back that far. So the oldest one that I have is 1855, and that's for Michigan. Out here in Nebraska, the oldest one I've seen is 1881, I think. And, by that time, they're all pretty accurate and everything. It was really interesting when we went to Digstock Mini in North Carolina. You ask, well, do you guys view on the maps, or how do you find these places? He goes, oh, no. So we talk to these farmers, and then after a while, everyone's like, oh yeah, there's a home site out there. And so more of like by word of mouth is how they find their spots, because when the North invaded the South in the Civil War, they went for the courthouses where all the maps and all the records and everything were. So they said that stuff was all destroyed out there. And so they had to kind of put the pieces back together from a, reverse standpoint, which I thought was really, really cool.
Yeah, the locals of every area are really going to be helpful. They're going to know, or they're going to hear of stories and help guide you in the right direction. We had a lot of, older property owners that would kind of clue us on to where things were, or they heard about this when they were a kid. Those are really good. And local historical societies, a lot of times if you go into one, they have all those maps already, and they're happy to talk about it and share it. Those people, they're volunteers usually. They've already done a lot of the research. Whether they're agreeing with metal detecting it or not, that can be a gray area. But to utilize them for maps or old folklore of where things were, they've done 90% of the work for you. Why reinvent the wheel and just start a Google search, So I always say, go check out your local historical society. You might be surprised at what they have on the wall. Just take a picture of their map, and you're on your way.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I need to do out here in Nebraska, because one of the segments of the Oregon Trail went in through some of the smaller towns out here by Lincoln, and I talked to a landowner. She actually said the exact same thing. Go to the historical societies. They have rooms with all this stuff and all the information and everything. I never really thought too much about that. Kind of a tool I probably should have utilized a lot more, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, no, it's nice. Another thing that I just started using within the last, 6 months or so are the old LiDAR maps. I don't know if you ever used the LiDAR maps.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. Someone kind of turned me on to it, and since then I joined one subscription, and you have access to them. So then you can actually see a depression in the ground. You'll see a perfect square outline that's totally gone, but it left a scar on the earth. I just thought that was fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
So, since I've gotten that, we really haven't been to any big open farms to utilize it yet. I'm sure we will, but that's an amazing tool too. The old LiDAR maps, you actually take an X-ray of the earth and look for roads or structures that if you were even standing there, you'd have no idea it was ever there.
Yeah, they had holes like that marked for Dig Stock Mini too, and there was one that was way back there, and some people went back there. They said all they found was pop cans back there, but there was 5 of them that were like kind of down in a lower swampy area, and I tried so hard to get back there, but there's just too much water on everything. But I figured, hey, if even one of these pans out, it could be a gold mine back there.
Yeah, you just gotta, trying to find the right spot of your permission can be tough sometimes, and there's been times we've had a huge 50-acre field and everything is in a 20 by 20 foot area. And, even with 5-6 guys to try to walk and spread out, a 40-acre field is tough. And you walk through and let's say we're there 5, 6, 7 hours and find nothing. We kind of dismiss it. Like, well, let's go get the next one. But we just never found that hot spot. So if you have a tool like the LiDAR or something that'll at least guide you to a specific area, maybe you'll get on it. There was one guy, I don't want to say who it is because he's trying to get a story put out, but they were at a farm not far from us. And in one little area, they were getting all these signals, and he came across a cache of, I think it was over 300 copper coins that he thinks were buried in like a burlap bag. And over time, the bag disintegrated. He has clips that he's reaching his arm down like to his shoulder, pulling out a clump of dirt. And you can see like 8, 9 coins at a time. And he's laying on the ground and most of them were King Williams, KG1s. I mean, pre-American coins. And they were all in like one, I'm talking maybe a 4-foot area. You never know, you might walk a field all day with 10 of your friends, but if you don't walk over that specific area, well, you missed a mother load. So it's something like that, a LiDAR map might show, because there was a pocket in the ground. Once he dug down, there was an opening from where that bag sat over time, and then I guess, dissolved. I wasn't there, so I'm only kind of getting it second nature. But I've seen the clips he showed me. It was pretty amazing.
That'll be really cool. I can't wait to see that come out. I mean, I found 30 wheat pennies in a hole, and I thought I hit the mother load.
Doug found an open roll of modern dimes once. They were all flat. All 50 of them were in there, and we were pretty excited.
Yeah.
So I guess a question that I want to ask you, I can't remember off the top of my head. Have you guys ever found a GW button?
No,
I haven't.
No.
Only out of the guys I go with, only Paul has found one, and we weren't even there the day he found it. So I was never there when someone found one to, enjoy that moment. I'm sure we will. I mean, we go to a lot of spots where dandy buttons are found and period coins, and heck, Washington, his troops were all over our area, up and down. So it's just a matter of time. But so far, I don't think any of us have found one, at least not when I've been there.
Okay.
No.
I couldn't remember. A question here from the comments. We kind of talked about it earlier. When did you switch to the Equinox? How come you switched over from that Amphibio?
Well, the Amphibio, I was starting to have a problem with it, where after about 2 years, the battery wasn't holding a charge as long. So I was carrying around USB chargers and mounting it on there and connecting it to run it. But those are heavy, so eventually I had to bite the bullet and mail the machine in to get a new internal battery. And I wasn't going to miss a dig day. So, I took the Equinox out, and I mean, it's a great machine. All the guys use them. And then, I have a relationship with Nocta Macro, and I know there are new legends coming out, and it's going to be simultaneous multi-frequency. It's going to be a machine that's supposed to rival the Equinox. We'll see. So I thought, well, rather than me go back to the Amphibio, I'm going to keep using the Equinox because I want to be able to tell people, which one's better, what the differences are. And you never try other machines, you don't know. So if people ask you a question, your answers are biased because you only use this specific stuff. So I've been using the Equinox. I really want to know it. I want to know exactly how it works so I can give people an accurate representation when they say, hey, what should I get? I can give them an unbiased opinion. So yeah, I've been using it since then, but once this legend comes out, I do plan on using it exclusively, at least for a few months, so I really get an understanding about that. And then, we'll see which one's best.
I saw her post today, the first one to be boxed to send out.
I saw, yeah, she messaged me.
I think it said really small print on the box that said quarter hoarder.
Well, we're supposed to get 4 of them. I might not be the first one because she's got dealers, chomping at the bit with orders from months ago. So yeah. I don't expect to be the first one postage stamped, but we'll see. I mean, I'm excited. Any new technology is good for everybody, regardless of what you swing. It makes the other manufacturers want to do better. It brings price points down traditionally. We'll see. And I don't know if you noticed, but, just 2 weeks ago, the Equinox raised their prices again on both machines, $50. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying it's their fault. The cost of doing business in this world we live in with shipping and issues like that and chip shortages. But this machine now, I mean, if it does rival the Equinox in performance, you're getting it at $300 cheaper with an extra coil. That could be a major factor for people.
Plus, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you used to swing the AT Pro, right?
Yeah, I still have the AT Pro. That machine, I love that machine. I mean, when you compare it to like the Equinoxes or the Amphibios, it doesn't have a ton of features in the sense where you only have limited control. Mm-hmm. But I liked it. I mean, it was durable. It heard a beep. It told me there was a beep. I dig the hole. I didn't really utilize much more than that. You ground balance, you go out, you dig a beep, you look at your number, you dig a hole. But when you get into some of these machines that have so many more features and you can manipulate your tones and your ranges and, you can really open it up and gives you more information. So I still think it's a good machine, the AT Pro. I would never say don't use it, but now I'm used to having more control over my settings and my features and my modes. So I don't know if I can go back to it again on the regular because you get spoiled, having all this stuff.
Right. Yeah. You were actually probably the biggest reason why I ended up getting an AT Pro. Because the way that I got into metal detecting was I bought an ACE 300. I was like, I'm an adult. I can spend $300, see if I like it. If I don't like it, great. Not the end of the world. And then out of all of the, big YouTube channels, yours has always been the one that I've watched the longest and everything. And I've really enjoyed it. And I said, you know what? He's done really well with that machine. I think I can do really well with that machine. And so far, I mean, I had it up from Christmas, I think 2018 till just this year when I got the days too. And I found so much awesome stuff with that. And I really liked it. And Brian had one for a long time too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I try never to be like an elitist and be like, don't use this machine, don't use that machine. I mean, if you can $100 detector, you're going to find stuff. You're going to hear beeps. If you dig beeps, you're going to find good stuff, in with the trash. But, like anything in life, if you're into, race cars or you're into tennis or whatever, if you've been doing it for such a long time, you want the best racket. You want the better balls because it's your passion, So, yeah, at this point, I want the better, quote unquote, better things. I want to know all the different technologies. Because of the YouTube channel, a lot of people will email me and message me and they want advice or things like that. and you kind of want to be able to help them. And if I only swung one machine, I'm so limited in what I can do. So, that's kind of motivation too, to at least know how they all work, what the strengths and weaknesses are of the different machines and pinpointers and shovels and things like that. So, a lot of times I do it for those reasons too. But, I don't have a lot of experience with the XP equipment, probably because, man, it's expensive. And,
Yeah.
I hear you. I'm an adult too. But when you're a married adult, you got to check with the boss sometimes.
Yep.
And they're pricey. So I haven't really jumped into the XP ship yet. But I mean, everyone I've talked to, I mean, amazing machines, super high-end machines, light as a feather. I just don't have a lot of experience with them personally. So when people ask me, I got to be honest and say, look, I just don't have a lot of firsthand experience, but I'd like to. So who knows? Down the line, I'd like to at least try them out and have some sort of a knowledge base on them.
Yeah, I know. I told my girlfriend, I was like, I'm getting it. She's like, well, how much is it going to cost? And I told her, and she's like, huh? And I was like, don't worry. Don't worry.
Don't worry.
Yeah. So thankfully they were running a bonus program at work where if you buy a vehicle off the street, you get $300. So I bought as many vehicles as I could to pay it off, and it worked out. So yeah,
that's pretty good.
Car business is a little loose sometimes with the way you make money, but that's okay. It's neither here nor there, not the point. So
yeah, my wife's pretty good. I don't buy a lot of detectors all the time, but when you're married and you're gonna shell out 4 figures for whatever you're doing, you got to check it over with your spouse if you want to avoid battles down the line.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I'm not good at being sneaky. If I told her, oh, it's only $200, down the line I'm going to slip up, and then I'm in trouble. So just be upfront and make sure you got the okay.
She can Google it too. Google kind of.
Yeah,
she'll figure it out. Yeah. And then I won't eat dinner for 2 weeks. When Doug comes around, she won't let me go out and play. You gotta do it the right way.
Yeah. So what's each one of your I guess most memorable finds, or maybe most memorable video or hunt?
Jeez.
Doug, you go first. I gotta rest my voice.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I think my 2 Real was my most exciting find. I've got a ton of memorable ones, and I love the relics. I love being in a place where you can get any number of items that have some historical value. May not be earth-shattering, but to us individually, they might be something unique. I found at one time a potentate from the Shriners, his necklace, and they were holding a convention in Atlantic City in 1927, and he went to a barber shop that happened to be right next to the home that we were doing, and I think you'll remember this, Jay, down South Jersey. Another individual found the marbles champion token, but I thought that was the coolest thing, that this potentate of the Shriners Temple lost it while he was getting a haircut, and I was the fortunate one that found it. And I tried to send it back to the temple. It's probably 15 minutes from my house, but they weren't all that interested in getting it back. And I said, okay, well, I'll just keep it in my collection. That was pretty cool. But the one that I think I've gotten most excited over is that 2 Real. It looks so nice. And of course, Jay did a great job in editing and bringing it up close where everyone could see it. And it really does look nice.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was, we've gotten, I don't know how many 2 Reals over the years. Not a ton, less than 10 one. For sure. And Doug's was easily the best looking one. I mean, the detail was amazing and just popping off. And, when you dig something and he saw it, you could tell it's a silver coin. It looks big, but you don't know. It couldn't be a Washington quarter. So when you call the guys in and you're capturing that moment where, the first wipe and then it's at least going to be old, and then everyone comes in close and the excitement. I mean, that's, to me, those are the best videos. I mean, you're capturing the moment and it's real. And that was an amazing coin. Big, beautiful 2 real.
1760.
That was one of my favorite things I've ever seen you find too, Doug. And at the same site where I got one of my favorite all-time things was that 1600s padlock.
Right. Beautiful.
Dates back to like 1650. One of my all-time favorite relics, top 3.
Yeah.
So what an incredible spot that was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Brian. I'm still
that
stuffing
was
my face full.
That's okay. That was 1760, 2 real.
Oh, wow.
Yes, really, really beautiful. And you know, a lot of people will ask us, how do you find Spanish silver? A lot of people don't realize that Spanish silver was universal prior to the U.S. government minting their own coins. You could go anywhere in the world that was inhabited and find Spanish coins. And that was part of everyday commerce in this country in the 1700s.
Yeah,
we
Spanish
probably
coins were actually still legal tender in America up until the 1860s when we passed the Coin Act. So they were still legal, anywhere in the country to use Spanish reals and escudos. And then we passed the Coin Act, and then they were no longer, legal
Accepted.
tender. Still had value for their metal content, but they weren't legal coins anymore.
Right.
We should find more of them in Michigan. We just don't. I mean, we had enough trade pass through here, but I mean, we were talking about this a while back. Maybe I've seen 5 in Michigan, so. Yeah,
I got a good friend, Jeff Ford, has a channel, Plugmaster Ford. He lives in Missouri. And same thing. I mean, he, for him in Missouri where he lives, old would be like, maybe 1880s or so. People just didn't cross the Mississippi in great numbers, until around that time. So, yeah, I mean, now you guys out there have different amazing things. You have a better chance at Mint Mark coins, Carson City coins, where they don't make it this far east. We get very little Civil War stuff in our area. So every part of the country has, their amazing little history that is unique to them. Ours is, colonial era stuff. And I do love it. But once in a while, I look at some of these guys that find, Civil War buttons or belt plates. And I think, man, I'm never going to get that. Like you said earlier, slave tags. I mean, I'll never probably have one of them. It just wasn't prevalent in our area. So, everyone kind of gets a little envious of another person's area. But, that's what road trips are for.
Yep.
I was going to say that would be, one cool road trip. Spend a week in the, Midwest where you can find the, like you said, Carson City or San Francisco minted, silver coinage, then pop out, to the South for the Civil War, and then the, Southeast for the early colonial, different colonial than, what you guys have, or like, up in Vermont or Boston, Massachusetts, that area. I think that'd be fun. Just do like 3 weeks in a row, hit a different area each time.
Yeah, just travel around. Well, Doug was born in North Carolina, and he's mentioned a few times to me that he wouldn't mind going back for a little mini vacation to do some of the old plantations down there. You get some Civil War stuff. You might get some slavery related items, which I just find amazing, because I love looking at something and thinking, wow, like we really did this. This was totally acceptable back then, and I think it's amazing. So who knows? One day we get down there, and slightly north of us in that Boston, Connecticut area, it seems like they really hit the 1600 stuff more often than we do around here. Usually if I see a pine tree shilling or something really old, it's usually around that Boston-y, Connecticut area.
Rhode Island, yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't mind getting up, a couple hours north. I don't know why we wouldn't have it here. I just very rarely see that stuff. It's not like Philadelphia wasn't a major seaport, but
Right.
yeah, they really seem to get more of the slightly older stuff just north of us.
Yeah, I know so before I moved out here, we hit one field in Michigan. We have half of a CSA buckle. Is Jake from the Wanderers. He found part of it. I found part of it. Digger to God, I put her comment up there. She found a full CSA buckle all the way in Maine.
That's
Which is
Wow,
awesome.
man, a
Yeah.
CSA buckle.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine what my next step would be after I just pulled a CSA button or buckle in Maine. But I mean, they are up north. It's just a lot tougher to find them because there wasn't as much Confederate history up that
Yeah.
way.
When I said belt plate, I was assuming a northern belt plate. I can't
Yeah.
even imagine a southern belt plate making it up to Maine. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Imagine the story behind that, how that got up there.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because I know I've kind of Brian and I we've discussed this a little bit before. So where we're from in Michigan, there's a small town. Well, I don't know if small town's the way to put it, but a lot of Confederate generals kind of brought their families, after they were either thrown out of the South or whatever, they came up to Michigan and that was where they settled. So in that little just pocket around West Michigan where we are, there's all sorts of Civil War history there. And I don't know if that's, just because that's where the Confederate generals landed or if there was just a lot of war around there in general. I shouldn't say war around there, but like people who were in the war that came back to Homestead or whatever after it was done. So, I mean, I found plenty of general service. I have an infantry button. I know Brian's found a few around the area as well. But I mean, I've always wondered how many more like pockets of Confederate there are just, popped in throughout the states that, nobody would know about,
No, it's amazing. And those are some of my favorite buttons too. Those two-piece Civil War era buttons. And I'll see them I'm not a big Facebook guy. I don't go on a lot, but every time I do, I seem to get posts of guys or girls, whoever, that found these amazing Civil War era buttons, and they seem to be like unlimited with all the different regiments. And man, I love buttons. When I first got into this hobby, I didn't really have an appreciation for them. And then, as you do it more and more, it might be one of my favorite things to find, old buttons, even over the coins, because they just have a more personal touch to them. And I have a beautiful display that I put together where all these buttons go out into the starburst with a big dandy button in the middle. I just love them. So that's one of my favorite things. And we found some great ones, even at our Field of 1,000 Holes we've been to. We found some old police buttons, and I can't even remember, Doug, some of the cool ones we found. It all runs together.
B&O Railroad.
The railroad buttons.
Yeah.
You just found the Philadelphia police button 2 weeks ago. We haven't put that video up yet.
Doug, you're giving spoilers away.
I'm sorry.
You just found a Navy button too.
Mute that.
Yeah, his Navy
I
button.
think Doug, how old did that end up being? Was that like, I thought you said World War One you thought it was, but was it older?
Which one?
The Navy button, the eagle with the cannonballs and the anchor.
Yeah, the two-piece one you found.
Yeah.
That was we figures World War One era, somewhere in that area. Yeah.
Yeah, most of the stuff we found, like I said, in that spot, it seems to be pre-World War II, like 20s, 30s, 40s, that kind of era, because we think the dirt was brought in from, some sort of a dump or a trash collection or something. But then we have found some things that were much older, but you got to figure, even in the 20s, some things that were lost or broken could have been, in someone's family for 50, 100 years. So We've gotten, I think Paul got 1/2 cent at that
Half
field.
cent. Yeah,
We've gotten some stuff, 1800s, not a ton.
I got an
but
1892 quarter.
and a lot of the pottery there also dates back to the 1800s because it could have been in the
Yeah.
family for 40 years, then broke and
Right.
dumped, in the teens and 20s. They didn't buy it all new. So
Mhm. I'm going to throw a picture of a dandy button up on the screen. It was found by one of my buddies when we were in North Carolina. And according to someone that we talked to, they said it was much more common for a northern dandy button. I didn't know that they differed kind of on region until he had told us that. I want to see if you guys recognize it or have ever dug one like it before. Let's see here. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen one like that up there before, or?
Similar.
I've seen them similar.
With
Each
gold
of those,
gilt.
yeah, each of the lines, are they hand punched all the way around?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen similar. There's an awful lot of them on there. They're always a little unique because they're hand etched. It's hard to even tell. Was there a shank on that? Do you remember?
I think there was half of one or so, not a full shank. But I'll see if I have any other pictures of it here.
I got one similar to that, but it was gold gilded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a redundancy? Did we determine gold gilding?
We get yelled at a lot for saying that.
Yeah.
But
But
Paul
it
and I
could be silver
researched the
gilded.
term, and we think gold gilt is acceptable because there is such a thing as silver gilt.
Yes.
Right.
So I'm going to go with gold gilt is an acceptable.
We're going to
term.
keep using it.
I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not seeing any other pictures of it here, unfortunately.
That's okay. Rich, at our Colonial Road spot I was telling you about earlier, Rich found a dandy button that looked similar, big, beautiful. It had etches in it. I don't know. It looked like those etches were curved, where his were like straight out, like sunburst.
Like a
But it went
starburst.
all the way around. Every time we get a dandy button, we kind of get a little nervous because that could be a GW. So we clean it extra cautiously.
Right.
Never got one yet, but one.
We'll get it.
Oh boy, we might have lost Jason. Oh boy, technical difficulties.
Yeah. He's the talker. You don't
Yeah,
want to lose him. There he is.
we found him. He's back.
Am I back?
We lost
You're
you a
back.
minute.
Welcome back.
Did the squirrel
Thank you.
stop running or what?
It's good to see everybody. I was going to go do a quick wardrobe change and put on a different shirt.
I can give you the burgundy one if you want to match. I figure while I got this here, I'll throw it up real quick. This is just a quick picture of that Riel that I found in North Carolina. I always thought that I don't know. I couldn't believe how how thin they were.
Oh yeah.
I seen one. I've seen them online, bought them before, and this isn't the first one I have in my collection, but it's the first one that I found. And I mean, it is just paper thin.
Yeah.
Well, it looks heavily wore too, so that might explain for the thinness.
But the one thing you can see is Carlos's nose.
Yeah, you can see Carlos's nose from a football field away.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't
if I had a
believe
nose like that, I would not want my face on a coin.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it because right before this, I had just dug 3 zinc pennies in a row, and I was actually getting pretty discouraged. I was like, "What am I doing? I'm on a colonial home site pulling out pennies from 2006. What's going on here?" And very next signal, it just popped right out. And normally, I don't have a lot that come out right in the bottom of the plug like that. But it was just right there staring me in the face.
Was that the actual dirt you dug it from?
Clean sand.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Looks pretty sandy. Where were you? What part of the state?
We were
Wilson?
Greensboro, I think.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Maybe Greenville, one of the two. Greenville, Greensboro, one of the two. More coastal.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, it's amazing how you can do that. How you find zinc pennies and then a real. I remember a spot I did with Paul and Charlie. I don't think Doug was there, where we were near this mill in the far back of a farm field, and we heard there was a swimming hole in this water, so we were checking it out. And I dug a silver quarter at like 14 inches deep, and it was a Washington quarter. And then literally like 3 feet over from me, Paul dug a Spanish silver real at like 2 inches deep. And I'm like, well, I dug 4 times deeper for a coin that's 200 years newer than the thing you got. Just weird how it works that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine having that with like colonial stuff too. You know, you dig a quarter from 2009 and then you walk 10 feet and you dig a 22 copper coin and you're going, holy cow. You know, like we don't have that stuff out here.
Yeah. But even things like cans, like an old Coke can, they are always like 16 inches deep. Like, how are they getting so deep? They're so big. How are they falling that deep? But man, every time you find a can, at least it seems like they're always so deep. You're like, what are you doing down there?
Yeah. And then they always just sound like, you know, a copper or a coin. And then you're down 9 inches and your pinpointer's barely picking it up and you're going, oh boy, what have I done?
You're pot committed at that point.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. That's when, you know, you push the sleeves up and you bam, but you know, start digging hard. What's you guys' dirt out like out there? I mean, out here, it's pretty mucky when it rains out here. I mean, it's super, super dry. We're in a drought out here right now. I mean, it's dusty. You sneeze and it goes poof and everything. But I mean, I wasn't really expecting how mucky it was and how much, you know, when you think of dirt, us being from Michigan, right with the Great Lakes, it's pretty sandy, maybe clayey. Right. It's not just pure muck. But I mean, I wasn't ready for just pure muck. Is it that way out by you guys too, or?
Well, it all depends on what part of the area you're in. Like where I live now, there's a lot of shale. There's a lot of clay soil. Things don't sink too deep because there's no percolation like where Jason is, which is primarily sand. You got to keep in mind that gazillion years ago, where Jason lived was part of the ocean. And where the field of 1,000 holes was all beach at one time or underwater at one time. So it's sandy, but you go 10 miles, 15 miles in different directions, you're going to encounter clay or you're going to get sand or, you know, a mixture thereof. That's why the Garden State is the Garden State. The soil is such a good mixture that it's conducive to growing. But up my way, the closer you get to the mountains, the more shale, the more clay, the harder to dig. We've been in some places, haven't we, Jay, that you could barely get a shovel into the ground. And people farm it, but you really work for the signals, extracting the signals. But.
Yeah, I remember the one spot we were at. I forget where it was. Charlie got the spot. We were there, the 4 of us. There was all these old buildings. Remember, we were right out front where we found all the nickels. We found that spill of nickels.
Yeah.
That was like a pasture. And once you got down about 2 inches, it was thick, dense red clay.
Yep.
And I mean, you needed, and this is the middle of the summer, you needed like a pickaxe to get into that clay. It was crazy. And I guess that's probably why they didn't farm it, because it was just so dense and thick. So that was a tough one. I don't see a lot of places that's that thick of clay, but yeah, he's right though. You know, east of Philadelphia, it seems to be sandy.
Right.
And then west of that, you know, it slowly starts to get a little more rich. The soil's denser, darker, and then as you get more north and it gets closer to the mountainous areas, you get that shale and it's more rocky. So yeah, we kind of have a little bit of a mixture. Yeah, depending on what area we're hunting, northeast, south, or west.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. If you want to hear it, when I was trying to connect with Jay, his channel was one that I watched every week. He and Plugmaster Ford, Jeff Ford, and the more I watched Jason, who was frequently in the woods, the more I realized I'd watch him dig and he'd get a nice close up, and I'd say, "Damn, that soil looks like Jersey soil," because I lived in Jersey for quite a while, and did my research and found out what general area he was in and made contact, and the rest is history. We've been digging almost 4 years together now, Jay. But it was that soil that made me realize he was close to me.
That's interesting.
How's that for detective work? I recognize your dirt.
It's kind of stalky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when he contacted me,
we stopped using that word a few years
Oh,
ago.
sorry.
How long did it take before I finally got together?
Yeah. Well, Jay is very guarded. He likes his privacy, and I just kept being obnoxious and badgering him. You're not Wisconsin. You're Michigan. I don't mean to say anything bad about Badgers, if anyone's watching from Wisconsin. But anyhow, I had a great permission, nice colonial permission, and I kept telling him, try to meet me and we'll go out. And he kept putting me off. He wanted to meet me like in Center City, Philadelphia, in the middle of town, in the middle of the day, because he didn't know if I was a weirdo or not. I think he's found out since that I am, but
he's just come to accept it and everything.
He's harmless.
Yeah.
Well, there's some strange people out there, Chandler, and from the channel, some people are a little strange, and you got to be careful.
Yep.
And you're like, hey, come meet me at this farm field out in the middle of nowhere. Who knows what that person's like, So when we go with someone new, now we have numbers, because there's going to be 4 or 5 of us already. But back then I hunted by myself. So I didn't know who Doug was. It could have been a murderer for all I know, serial killer.
Yeah.
He still might be. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him, but.
So I said, look, we got to meet. Let's go meet at like a house somewhere.
It was a very
with people around.
Highway. Yeah.
And we did. We met at a house, and man, Doug picked out the dumpiest house I've ever been to.
Well, you wanted to be somewhere you recognize, so
So
you could have had the colonial house, but you put me off, so that was your punishment.
Yeah, I mean, we had 2 guys in my group. I should say one of them. I was trying to get him to detect with myself, and Nick's the other like main guy that I hunted with back in Michigan. Best friend growing up and everything, and we had connected through Facebook. And West Michigan is pretty well connected through Facebook if you're a detectorist. I mean, there's a lot of really, really good groups, Michigan Metal Detecting, High Tone Hunters, Detect Michigan, all of them, no shameless plugs for anybody in there, but we're all very well connected. And so I was trying to get this other guy who I knew lived by us. I was like, just come on out, man. It'll be fun. Come on. I actually just started detecting with a guy I went to high school with, completely different grades, completely different social circles, everything. He was now swinging with us, and I was like, you got to just come out. And he's like, oh, maybe, I don't know. Maybe depends on what permissions you get. And I'm like, all right, you know what? You don't want to come out. I'm not going to push you anymore. Fine. 2 days later, I went out and found the gold coin. And he's like, I knew I should have come out with you guys. And I was like, I tried to tell you. And the first time we ended up hunting together, we walked 0.8 of a mile back into a field to find that the home site was just on the other side of the property line that we couldn't get to and don't have permission for. And
that hurts.
He's like, this is what I get, isn't it? And I was like, well, we all get it. And unfortunately, I had my girlfriend along. One of the other guys had his girlfriend along. So we were getting beat up pretty good on the way back to the truck with everything. But that's how One of our guys started out with us too.
Yeah, it's
Well,
fun how you
how-
meet each person.
Yeah. How long was it, Jay, before I made your speed dial as my real name and not metal detecting guy?
Yeah, Doug was in my cell phone as metal detecting guy for about a year and a half before I upgraded him to Doug.
That's funny. That's really funny, actually.
I will say though, Doug is so friendly and trusting and loving.
Yeah.
Some of it did spill over to me where I'm not nearly as reluctant as I used to be. We've gone out with a lot of new people and the group has grown. I mean, since Doug's been around, I mean, before Doug, it was pretty much me alone or maybe one other guy. And, Doug really kind of helped me say, all right, let's try it out. And we've since gone with Paul and Charlie and Rich. And there's a new guy, Matt and Jeff. And, there was Scott for a while. I can't even remember everybody, but,
Leroy,
I
don't
like
forget
people,
Leroy.
But I'm very hesitant to make sure, A, you're normal, you're not insane. You're not going to curse. You're not going to flick cigarette butts all over some stranger's yard. You're not going to leave holes undone.
Right.
You're not going to have a foul mouth, because I'm trying to, little things like that. You got to be able to fit in with what we're trying to do. It doesn't matter to me if you say like, I'm the great, I got 59,000 years of experience. I don't care. I don't care if you find one thing or 1,000. Are you going to fit in? Are you going to, niche with our group? So that's what's most important to me. Your personality doesn't matter to me how good or bad you are. I actually prefer people who are inexperienced because they find firsts and they get excited where we've already found a lot of firsts. So we get excited, but not the same level. You know what I mean? Or they'll find something and they don't know what it is. And then Doug and I can seem like we're smart and tell them because we found it before.
Mm-hmm.
So I really enjoy going with newer people because, they find everything fascinating, which then I can capture that emotion and that's my favorite. The guy who's got 100 years experience and can find the needle in a haystack. Well, that's nice.
Yeah, it's very cavalier about things. Yeah.
Yeah, like I've seen all the same coins you're going to find, but I want some excitement, some emotion, some give me some personality.
Right.
I don't necessarily need to see the 11th copper coin of the day, but I want something non-tangible. So that's the kind of people that I look for.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what Jason. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say, I'd quick throw this up here. Brad from Green Mountain Metal Detecting wanted to stop by and show his support for you guys and say, hey.
Let me tell you. I only talk to a few other YouTubers. Not that I don't like them, but I don't watch as much YouTube as I used to when I first got involved. You get busy, family and things like that. Brad is my favorite one. I love Brad. He's just a generally good guy. What he does is different than everyone else. And I love people that do outside the box. So I love that guy. I'm glad Brad is here. I couldn't say enough good things about him.
I would love to go up and hunt with him. He's got, I don't know that you might have to take a resuscitator or something to climb up those mountains that he does. But he's got some really great spots. And I know it's because he spends the time researching and figuring out where these places are. It's just awesome watching his videos.
Yeah, when we had him on, I think 2 weeks ago now, that was one of the things that everyone had, they said the exact same things you said, that he makes such great videos and they're so different. And that's, what makes them awesome. And a lot of people, really enjoy that, myself included, for sure.
Well, he's artistic. And when you can mix that in, and he's got an eye for the nature, and you can't fake that. Like you either have that skill set or you don't. Like I'm colorblind. If I tried to do what he did, it would be a hot mess. Like I can't even dress myself. That's why I wear black.
He wears Garanimals.
Yeah, I'm a mess like that. But if you've got that eye and that artistic skill and apply that, you're different and you're unique. And he uses it for, his leather work and everything he does. He's got musical talent. If you've got artistic ability, man, you could do anything, because you think on that side of the brain and it just kind of flows together.
Mm-hmm.
So cool guy for sure.
Yeah. Very nice.
Mm-hmm. Well, Doug, I'll let you get back into what you're saying. I didn't mean to interrupt you or get off on a tangent, but
What was I saying?
we're talking about personality and how that's, Jason's application process to the group and everything.
Well, the longer I've known Jay, the more I appreciate him as a friend. He's so easy for me to relate to because so much of our personalities are alike. He's a little more guarded initially than I would be in a situation. I'm gregarious. I go out, I meet new people, make new friends. Where Jason will wait till I've vetted everyone and then he'll step in. But our personalities are really similar. And of course, he's a little more quick-witted than I am. I've slowed down a little bit in my older age, but we do relate well. We have the same ridiculous thoughts at times, and we just interact well together. And I think that's why he's seen a benefit of having me on every week, because we do blend so well.
Yeah, and that's what really I think, people love to see from you guys, is the camaraderie that not, the two of you, but that everyone that you detect with all has. I mean, there's no point in time where anyone's, mad at each other, like you said, cursing at each other or anything like that. You can always poke fun and get everyone fired up, and that's what's awesome to see. And that's one of my favorite things about, what you guys do and everything. And I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there that think that way too.
And that's important to me. I mean, and that's by design. I've gone out and Doug and I have gone out with people that just didn't jive. One guy who, couldn't help but speak with foul language. And, hey, I'm not your mom. I'm not going to yell at you. But when I tell you the 30th time, look, even if you're 50 feet away and I'm recording something Doug found and I hear you cursing, my microphone picked that up. You've essentially ruined Doug's moment. You've ruined it. Now, sure, I can maybe try to overdub audio and all that. But then Doug and I have to act that out. It's not the same. We're not good actors. I missed the moment. And when I tell you that 4 or 5 times, you stop getting invited. Little things like that. And we don't ask much. Just, pretend like your mom is there. You can be funny, but you don't have to be foul-mouthed. We had one guy that would leave his trash in his holes. I won't say what his name is. That really annoyed me. He was new to the hobby, but you know what? Even if you're new, your morals should tell you, I'm at someone else's property. I just picked up a piece of trash. I'm going to take it out of here. I don't think that's even a metal detecting thing. That's a moral code that you should have in your body.
That's 101.
Yeah, we did, so, I don't want to say that we, have guidelines, but when you're with somebody who's going to mesh, because that's the vibe I want my channel to have. I want, if people watch my video, I want for that 25 minutes, you're not thinking about the nastiness in the world or the craziness that's going on or your job or your stresses in life. I want you to sit back, laugh, have fun, see cool, interesting things in the ground, and have a little break from the reality of what, the world might have to offer.
Life.
Yeah. And that's what I try to get across. I tell Paul, the fines don't matter, Paul. If Doug found a 2 real or he found a Tootsie toy from the 60s, we're going to come over and we're going to have funny banter. We'll have some goofy, quick-witted jokes. We're excited to see it, but, you try to capture it in a certain way and you edit it with overlays. And it doesn't matter what the fine is. You're capturing the friendship, the moment of your fine. and then metal detecting is just the vessel that, brings it together.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I completely agree. That's why I like, having a bunch of guys to go out with. I mean, yeah, I can all, like you had even said earlier, we can all go out and find cool things by ourselves, but then it's like, cool, here's a real I found. It's not, hey, look at this. What's this, what's the story behind it? Let's all get fired up because we found it.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's what you want.
yeah, I mean, you can see even, in the intro that I have for my channel here,
saw
that's
it. That was
everybody's best find, and when we're all fired up with each other. And those are the moments that mean, a lot to me, because maybe I don't want to be too cheesy here. I'm in Nebraska, right? I'm 11 hours away from these guys that I've, gelled with and everything with for the last, 3-4 years, and to not have that anymore when you go out every time, it's just like, you miss it after a while. And don't get me wrong, I know Ben and Cody, both the guys I swing with out here, and maybe Ryan, loved hunting with these guys. But when you're with a certain group of guys for so long, you just have that connection.
Sure. And it takes time to get to that level where you kind of just bond, you can, the guy well enough.
Mm-hmm.
You're past the cordial stage where you're just good friends. I mean, I can't remember any time where someone I'm with found something and I wasn't truly happy for them, like I'm not jealous. I don't care what you find. I don't care what it's worth. I'm generally happy for you, and I want to be there and celebrate in that moment with you. So, when people will sometimes ask like, oh, what's that worth? What's this worth? I could care less. And I found some coins. I got one that Doug knows about. There could be 7 figures, and ask me what I've done with it. It's sitting in a safety deposit bank for 4 years now. I don't care. I want to celebrate the moment. The value, if you make it about value, for me, it doesn't work. So yeah, and if you're new to the area and you found some guys, it'll come. You get to that level where you're just so excited, and if you can be happy for your buddy, he's going to be happy for you, and you do it together, and that's what it's about. You know what I mean? I mean, really sharing the hobby without animosity or selfishness or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When that was how I met these guys, was, like I said, we're all kind of connected through Facebook and everything, but I had a guy reach out to me. He said, hey, I have this house that's going to be demoed. Do you want to come metal detect it? I was like, yeah, you want to do a group hunt out of it? And he's like, what's that? I'm like, well, I'll just invite a bunch of guys on Facebook, go over a few things, and then we'll just go do it. He's like, sure, sounds good. And I'll bring pizza. And I was like, perfect, that works. We got a dream team going. And there was people there, like myself, who have been swinging for a while, who, they have Deuses, or they have, at the time, the Deus 2 wasn't out yet. So, Deuses, Nox 800s, and there's people with machines that I hadn't even heard of before, that had come from a different place and weren't, nearly as much money, but they meant just as much to that person as, the Deus or the Nox or the Pro or whatever did to me. And to have that group setting, we found, I think, 10, 15 silvers, big handful of wheats. We didn't find any Indians, but a lot of relics too. And to have a lot of people just go through that at their stage, I can remember there's this one guy, he was digging a hole for forever, and he ended up pulling the merc out of the hole like 5 minutes prior, and he's like trying to find this nail in the bottom of the hole, and I was like, dude, there's a merc right there. He's like, well, that's my first silver coin ever.
And he didn't notice it.
Yeah, and he was so fired up about it. And it's just moments like that for me really make it so much fun and so worthwhile and everything.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, when you're with someone and they get there first, especially when they were looking for it, like I said earlier, Doug, it took him a couple years to find his first whole chronal bell. And when he finally got his first whole one, man, we were excited. We were filming it. Now, the homeowner was there and happened to be outside. And I was praying. I was like, oh, I hope the guy doesn't ask Doug for it. So I try to get on top of the situation. And I write to the homeowner. I'm like, man, I'm so excited for you, Doug. Your first one ever. You know what I mean? To kind of make him feel a little guilty, of wanting to take it from him. Because, a lot of people, I have no problem with sharing the finds and things like that. But your first thing is special, especially if it doesn't have any monetary value. It has that intrinsic value. So I was kind of hoping that the guy wouldn't take it off me. He didn't. He was actually a great guy.
Well, actually, I offered it to him, and he said, "No, you seem like you enjoy it more than I will." So
yeah, you were thrilled.
It was nice of him.
Yeah, and I think we went back again to his place, and I brought a detector for his daughter to use, who was about 12 years old, and she went out with us all day. I'm talking 11 hours. Had a great time, and then I hooked the guy up with a new machine for her. He was going to buy her to surprise her. So everything worked out really well.
Yeah, it's awesome doing stuff like that. I know I went to a house with my very first detector, Ace 300, pulled 5 or 6 Wheaties out of there, and I went back with the Pro, pulled a bunch more Wheaties out of there. And for people like us, we've been in the hobby long enough where we find a Wheatie and it's not the most exciting thing in the world anymore. But for the people who haven't gotten that far, or kids especially, and you say this coin is 105 years old, and they go, what, 105? Like, that number doesn't exist to them, and to give them stuff like that, they love it.
It is pretty crazy to think that those wheat pennies now are 110 plus years old, and a lot of guys dismiss them. Wheatie, junk.
I still love finding them.
Yeah, I still love finding them. We still call each other, maybe not as exciting as some things, but definitely not trash. That's a heck of a find.
Well, yeah, I actually just recently I purchased just a Lincoln penny coin album off Amazon or whatever. I'm just trying to fill it all the way up with Wheaties.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that the Warmans?
The Warmans one is awesome because it holds all the wheat pennies in one book, where the Whitman one, you got to buy 2 different books, and then the second one bleeds over into memorial pennies, and who wants that? So, man, that Warman's book, how many shout outs did I give that Warman's book like 2 years ago, Doug?
Well, there's a lot. I remember that.
Every week.
The price of it up.
It was $5, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. Initially.
I think because I remember, because the one time I asked him, I said, how many did I help you sell? And he said like 1,500 books. I was like, wow.
It was the wheat penny challenge, remember?
But I mean, that's what I always wanted to see, is one book that just held all the wheat pennies. How hard was that? It didn't exist until the Warman's book.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing the same thing right now with Indian Head too. So I still got a couple to get in there. I'd say it's about 2/3 full right now. And it's just random years. Like, I need like an 1894 and an 1895. Like, obviously I still need the 77, but yeah, it's like,
I have an Indian book. I'm missing the hard ones, the 77. I got all the fatties though, which are impressive. And then I think I'm missing a couple arbitrary ones too. I think from the 60s or 70s.
I got a bunch of 60s, but still haven't gotten my Flying Eagle.
That's Doug's one of his big bucket listers. And poor Doug's been there when like 7 or 8 of us have dug a Flying Eagle.
Oh no!
Yeah, and my permissions too. I mean,
oh no! Yeah, that's always tough.
One day we're out, and I go to the right, and I get a beautiful Indian, and I turn to Jay. He says, "Oh, I just got another Flying Eagle."
Yeah, that's crazy.
Those days are tough because
yeah,
as excited as I am, I also try to be empathetic because I know the other guy really wanted one. So I'm excited, but I almost don't want to show it because I kind of
you're like bad. Apologetic. Oh, I'm sorry, I found this.
We gave one of the guys around here just so much crap. His white whale was a shield nickel. And I've found like probably 12 to 15 shield nickels. And every time I would just video a clip, I'd be like, well, Joe, this one's for you, man. Finding another one for you, It's just, fun.
I was with him when he found his first one, and he was so geeked. And then 5 minutes later, I found a Flying Eagle.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Because that's on his list too, or was.
Well, your gold coin's pretty impressive. I mean, that's a pretty rare feat.
Yeah, it's crazy having it happen so early, in my detecting career, as it was, because, that's the stuff that doesn't necessarily get knocked off for every person. And, to have it be a a foreign gold coin too makes it, that much cooler. Because, I'm not saying, the American ones aren't cool, because I'd be, still over the moon with an American gold coin. But having that British one, that's what makes it twice as cool for me anyway.
Now that's
what
fun.
denomination was it? A crown?
So it is a sovereign, 1836. I'll put a picture up on the screen for you, Doug. I sent the video to Jason when we found it. I was like, hey, you should check this out. Because I was fired up, and he was the only YouTuber that I had watched at the time, and I was like, I hope he enjoys this.
Yeah, we've never found one. You never found one, Doug, that I know of.
I've never found one.
No,
That would be
I found gold rings and gold bracelets, but never gold coin.
So this is what it looked like
wow.
when I pulled it out, and I couldn't believe it. I screamed to my buddy Nick, and I was like, dude, you need to grab the camera, right? I was screaming. I was like, grab the camera, grab the camera. And, he's just running over. He thinks I have a silver coin. And after we got it cleaned up a little bit, that's I think that's what you'd call the front side of it. So it's like, I think King William the Fifth, I think, is who that is. I don't remember off the top of my head anymore. But when we actually, oh boy, there's me looking at a storm. When we flipped it out of the clump, that was what I saw. And
that's amazing.
I mean, look at the condition of that. Wow.
Yeah. And I couldn't believe it. I still can't. That's one of the things that you think about every day, and you're like, I actually, found that was lost in the ground for
forever
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's
what machine were you swinging then?
AT Pro.
Do you remember what number that hit on your machine about?
So that was ringing up. It was like a 70, so like an Indian tone. But there was a bunch. Yeah, but there's a bunch of nails in the hole as well. But I think it's because it's so big. I have it in a flip here. Let me get it to focus.
Nice. Yeah, I can see at least the size of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost as big as a quarter. Like, it's in a quarter flip.
Yeah, it's a quarter flip.
And
yeah, I always tell Doug, I never found a gold coin, and I don't even consider it a white whale, because most gold coins are going to come up so low, the small denominations, that I just don't dig that signal. If we go to a new spot, you're kind of cherry picking, you got a different spot lined up next week, I'm not going to dig those really low signals. So I may never get a gold coin, and I'm fine with that. But the bigger ones like that are going to hit those at least a decent mid-tone or higher, well, those you got a shot for. So that's a pretty impressive. I mean, there's nobody in the world that wouldn't dig a 70 something, in an old area,
especially in a farm field.
Yeah, right. Especially a British gold coin like that size in nature, in Michigan. You know what I mean? We got Otis popping in. Yeah.
Who did we lose?
We lost Chandler.
The
cat probably dumped him. He'll be back on.
The cat probably jumped and hit the escape button.
I'm sure that's what happened. He'll be on.
So what do you swing, Brian?
The original Deus. And I mean, yeah. And I'm feeling like I've got the fear of missing out, because everybody in our group is buying the Deus too. But I had the money. I don't know. I wanted to see what everybody else thought of it. I'm not usually an early adopter of things like that,
Yeah, right. I'm always something new comes out, I like to wait a little bit and try to see what the reviews are, if there was any kinks. I'm never the first guy in line to buy something either.
No, I wasn't that way when I got the Deus, the original one. I'd swung the AT Pro for probably 6 years first. So,
sorry, guys.
Look who decides to join us, Brian.
Yeah. Somebody decided that. No, it was the cat stepping on the
I
via
said
power
the cat
cord.
stepped on the escape button and you were
Yep.
dead in the water.
Yep, closed the whole thing, and I thought the stream crashed too, and I was like, oh no.
Oh, we carried you.
Yeah, we carried on.
All right,
Yeah.
you didn't talk about me in a banana hammock, did you?
You'll never know.
Okay.
You'll have to go back and watch it.
Oh boy. Yeah, he's they're can't live without him, can't live with him. You know how it is.
I got 2 big dogs, so my wife's playing with them. I can hear them barking down there now. If they jumped on my laptop, it would just be crushed. I mean, they're big,
Yeah,
big suckers.
they're huge.
Yeah, earlier when we were talking, Doug, I don't think you were in quite yet, but Jason, I don't know if you were in or not either. But one of our cats, Otis, who just closed everything. He's 8-9 pounds, pretty average size for a cat. Oscar's 13.5 pounds now. And I looked over and he was standing on my glass display case with all my coins in it. And I started freaking out. I was like, babe, you got to get these cats out of here now. We got to do something here.
Yeah, 16. I thought that 16 pounds is like having a bowling ball on top of your
Yeah,
case.
It is. His favorite thing to do in the middle of the night is just lay on your head at random times. So you'll wake up with just cat right over your face. And it's like, oh man, why am I suffocating? Oh, okay. That's why.
Doug tries to do that to me and I won't let him. I lock my door now.
Yeah,
That's good. It's good. You learn twice, and then you got to keep them
he
out.
doesn't want me laying on.
Fool me once, shame on me.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
Well, I mean, we can give it a break, you guys, or if you guys want to call it and enjoy the rest of your night too. I mean, it's up to you guys. It's an hour ahead of where I am, so
I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick. Doug, it can carry this on if you don't mind, Doug. If you give me 2 minutes.
No, go ahead.
sure.
Ahead.
All right, Doug's good. Tell him a funny story, Doug.
All right.
Do I have any?
You got to have one in there, Doug. Come on, you can do it.
Oh, geez. I don't know. There's a lot rolling around in here, but to extract one funny story would be difficult. If you want to ask me a leading question, that might help. Other than, do you have a funny story for us? But.
What? How long have you both detected? I mean, not together, but like you and how long Jason's.
I actually started back in the 70s. My first detector was a Fisher M scope,
Okay.
which was a low end machine, but it was mostly a coin shooter, going to parks, going to playgrounds, schoolyards, that sort of thing. But I managed to find my first copper 1773 Virginia halfpenny in Philadelphia using it. So that was exciting. And of course, they ended up closing that park to metal detectors after that. So I never was able to find anything else with it except down at the beach and at the local playground and what have you. Then I kind of got away from it in favor of fishing. I really got hooked into, pardon the pun, into deep sea fishing and spent the next 20, 25, even now, 30 years fishing.
Wow.
But then started watching the videos on YouTube and kind of got me into it again. And between that and the regulations being what they are anymore for saltwater fishing, I said I've got to get back into detecting, and did it, and with especially the help of guys like Jason and Jeff Ford and others, Green Mountain Metal Detecting, who I enjoyed watching. And I said, I got to get back into this, and eventually both feet into it. I still fish, but not nearly as much as I used to. Hey, you
Still
moved.
probably cheaper. It's still cheaper than deep sea fishing, I'm sure.
It is, and the one good thing about metal detecting, and Jason will tell you, we'll go out in a lot of bad weather, where the boat won't even leave the dock. A lot of those circumstances. So we can detect in snow, we can detect in cold, we can detect in wind, where I might not be able to fish. So I'm glad I got back into it.
And Doug picks up new nicknames every time
Yeah.
we're in inclement weather. That's
I
where he
wear-
got the it was muddy. That's how he got the Jane Fonda Doug. It
Yeah.
was rainy. That's how you got the Hazmatador.
Yep.
So-
I would wear my foul weather gear from fishing. I look like the Gorton fisherman. And so Jason said I look like a, what was that?
Well, you look like a cross between a matador, a demented clown, like a rodeo clown, and kind of like a traffic cone. It was
yeah, exactly. And Jason's great with the coming up with the nicknames. So hey, he can call me whatever he wants. It's all good fun.
Doug probably has about 9 nicknames. We only really use 3 of them for the most part, but he's got some really good ones. That'll be
3
a
on
good trivia
camera.
question one day, Doug. Whoever can name the most former nicknames, will win a prize.
They got to do some binge watching to find them, but yeah, Jason's good with coming up with the names.
That's funny.
What happened to our host?
Brian, do you have a digging nickname, Brian?
Oh boy, I don't know. Probably none I can say on air.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no. I don't know. I don't think that's as big a thing here necessarily. Michigan. I'm not on YouTube. I don't do that personally, so I didn't do that. But
see, I love the digging nicknames, and I'll tell you why. Goes back to how I said the videos kind of take you away from reality for a little bit. Like, if I all week long, your dad, your husband, your worker, your employee, when you got the stresses of life. So when we go out digging, I want to be able to put all that aside for that time period. So you pick up a nickname, kind of like a dancer or an entertainer might have a nickname, because it puts you in a different mindset. You know what I mean? So, when you have that nickname, you kind of helps you block out the pressures and the stresses of life for that moment, so you can enjoy it. And that's why I like the nicknames, because, a new guy comes in, the first day we give him a nickname, because I want him to be in that zone like we are, where you're not thinking about, oh, I got to work tomorrow. Oh, I got to go home and paint the house. I got to walk the dogs, whatever the things you got to do, and just enjoy that day, enjoy that moment. And that's how I kind of started doing the nickname for me and all the guys, really.
Yeah.
You've just
Jason
had
years of being a wrestling fan, and all his favorite characters had names.
Mm-hmm.
He could name them. I couldn't. I wasn't as big a fan, but Haystacks Calhoun or whatever, Gorilla Monsoon. And so Jason kind of relates that to the metal detecting arena, and we all have to have a name. This is what we're known by. So
you've just now given everybody that's watching this that knows me the task. I'm going to have like 100 now. They're going to be
gotta have a nickname. It's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah.
You gotta have a nick. Oh, here comes Chandler's cat, Doug. So get ready to go down in a second.
I get called the 1800s guy a little bit, because I'm usually trying to chime in on ID for relics. I mean, that's old here, and that's something I really like, is the 1800 stuff. So, but no, I don't think I have any nicknames that.
Yeah, anything. Like I said, I love it. And Doug's probably right. It probably does stem from the wrestling names. Just like I said, I mean, the wrestling I liked was kind of like not the big WWE stuff, as more so of the small indie ones that would come and wrestle at like your local VFW or something. So, the guy you're watching, 2 hours earlier was like delivering FedEx packages. And he shows up at the VFW and he puts on his shorts, and now he's El Matadorio, and it puts him in a different mindset, and I like that. It just kind of helps you deliver a better package.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm a big fan of the nicknames, you know, for lots of reasons, but that was the main one.
I'm gonna name Chandler Wardrobe Change Boss now.
Is that his third wardrobe? He's
I
like
think it's
Janet
fourth.
Jackson at the Super Bowl.
Third. It's a third. Yep. I got a hoodie. I was like, man, I was warm.
I don't
when
even
we
own that
started.
many shirts, Doug.
Jeez.
These are all the only ones I have. You know, I went
I have
went
to
through
have
them
my
all.
wife do wash just so I can keep
Yeah.
up with him.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It's bad when your underwear is in rotation mode. You
Yeah.
know?
To be
What,
young and
I-
handsome again, Brian, you know, you even care what you look like.
I can't be the only one that color codes their underwear, right? Yeah. I
Oh
mean,
boy.
no, I'm just kidding.
What color?
It depends on the day.
Fuchsia, probably.
Yeah. Whatever color shirt I'm wearing, you know, just
Yeah.
in case I have to match, you know.
I can't even spell fuchsia.
Me either.
I don't know that I can spell it. I just know the word.
Get out of there.
My wife is an art teacher, and she'd be furious if I didn't know how to spell fuchsia. So I'll pretend like I do.
Nice.
I didn't. Sorry, I went to follow Jason's footsteps, go use the bathroom, and order some takeout for dinner. So
Well, what time is it in your neck of the woods?
7:15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But-
we didn't eat dinner yet either.
Yeah, that's
I was
why.
making something. I can smell the faintness of something. I don't know what it is. I think it's a double
my
stuffed
feet.
baked potato, but I'm not sure.
It's my feet.
It's that must be pretty strong if it's going through the
Yeah.
fiber optic. But you know, I wouldn't put it past you.
No.
Now, Chandler, do you have a nickname? A digging nickname?
I don't really. We don't really. So we have nicknames for like the group of us. So in our group chat, Brian's actually not a part of that group chat. Him and I do our own thing. He's one of the, I don't know, honorary, you know, whatever. But in terms of normal, everyday, you know, kind of guy, not so much. I do all of like the research and everything. So I can see if it has all our nicknames in here. So yeah, my nickname is Door Knocker. Just because
All right.
customer service background, and I have no problem walking up to someone's door and going, "Hi, I'm Chandler. I'm a hobbyist metal detectorist. I'd like blah, blah, blah," you know, going through the whole spiel and everything. We call one of the other guys, his name is also Brian. We call him the Wolf of Wall Street. Just he like stocks and stuff like that. Another guy did stocks and everything too. We call him AMC Legend. That's his nickname in the chat. One of the guys is going to be, I think, 60 this year, and he is Peepaw, and
Peepaw.
Peepaw. Yep. Nick's, we call him Largy King because he just walks through the field and swings over a high tone, and it's a Largy. That's just how he is. He found the most out of us the last 2 years. And
I know guys like that.
yeah. The other one, his name is Mike. We call him Metal Detecting God because he joined with us 3 years ago, right before I found the gold coin. And the first time he was out with his Knox 800, he's like, I got a coin here, I think, because he was looking through a bunch of nails, and it was an 1829 matron head large cent. And then like the next week, he got on some SLQs, and he got on Indians and French and Belgian coins from the 1800s before, you know, in like his first week, right? Because when you're someone brand new and you join in with someone like you guys or myself that are getting on old sites, you're going to get old stuff to start out with.
And you're ruined. You're ruined.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
So
you only go downhill from there.
I know. He went on a big tear of just super old finds and everything. And every time we go out, he always finds something pretty good usually. It was like the fourth or fifth time he ever detected with us. He's like, I just found my first weedy. And we're like, you have 2 large cents and you're finding your first weedy.
Yeah.
What, you know, how does that work? But
Yeah,
that-
no, I've been there. Same thing with me. When I started, I mean, geez, it took me a good almost 2 years to find a large cent. I didn't really know where to go. You know, I was just trying to go anywhere where they would let me. I didn't really research it. I was just wherever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was thrilled to find wheat pennies. My first Indian penny, I had no idea what it was. I was never a big coin collector. The only old coin I knew of was a Buffalo nickel because I had seen them, you know, in the past, but I never knew pennies were large. None of that stuff. Never saw a mercury dime in my life. So, you know, everything I know about coins was as, you know, when I started doing this hobby.
Yeah.
And once I got like my first 2 or 3 older coins I'd never seen before, I wanted to go online and start researching other old coins, but then I didn't want to do that because I wanted it to be totally unique to my eyes. What the heck is this? You know what I mean? So I purposely did not go on and look until a good year and a half later. And now, like, you know, I'm not saying I'm a coin expert, but one of us has found almost everything. So you kind of just know what things look like, even if you can only see, you know, the slightest little puff of a hair pulled back, you know what it is because you've seen so many of them. But yeah, when I first started, I remember that magic of, you know, what is this? This is crazy, you know, and man, what I wouldn't give for that legitimate belly excitement again for anything, you know?
I pinned up Nick's comment. He said, "That's right. Bow to the Largy King." That's the other guy that we normally go with. Yeah, there was more than one occasion where he was walking from one field that we had to another field, and he's like, "Oh, I got this 88 here on the pro." Pulls out a Largy. It's like first time out with the Deus too. Popped out a Largy, and I don't know how he does it, but.
Well, he's at least somebody's getting on him, right? It keeps you motivated. You should know there's good stuff at the spot.
Yeah, we always like it when somebody in the group finds something interesting or rare or whatever, because it gives that motivation to everybody else. You know, we're excited for that person, but now, hey, we got a little fire burning. We got to find one like that. So.
Good to let you know that there's period stuff in the ground. You know, we've been to some places where on paper it should be a great spot. There's an old house there, it's open fields, but we find nothing. You know, maybe it was hit before, who knows the reason, but just, you know, nothing. Disappointing. So you're always excited for anybody. You find a, you know, even square nails or an old coin or a busted piece of Crotal bell. You're like, yes, there's period stuff here. Yeah. Now let's get going, you know, and it jump starts the day.
And there's nothing better than starting out the day, even if it's not on a wicked awesome coin, just finding something period, because then it confirms everything and you're like, all right, we're in the right spot.
You buckle down.
It's gonna be a good day.
Now you know it's there. No, I agree. That's the best.
We got out of the car a few weeks ago, and first signal, Jason pulls out an SLQ, and I'm thinking, how the heck did you do that?
Like 10 feet from the car.
Exactly.
And, you know, that's a heck of a day. And then we've had days. Do you remember, Doug, that one house we did years ago? We were there all day and we found good stuff, but all 1900s. And as we were leaving, we were literally like 5 feet from the car. Doug gets a good signal and it was like a KG3. The only old thing we found all day.
We were finding wheat pennies all day. We got some good relics, but
nothing even 1800s all day. And then the very last signal, 1700s. Like, what a weird gap. But it works out that way sometimes.
I remember the time we were out in the farm field. We had 1,100 acres that we had open to us. And the farmer actually gave me, about a half dozen maps, Jay, that showed where old houses were throughout this 1,100 acres. Well, we had this one map, and we saw he had circled where the house was. Well, we looked at it upside down. We were all over that field.
We were on the wrong side.
On the wrong side. And about a half an hour before it got dark, he pulls out a half real. Wasn't it, or was it a 1 real?
I forget which one.
But a few minutes later, you got another Spanish real. Yeah. We were and then it was like the gates open. We were getting largies, we're getting buttons, and it was all because we were in the wrong spot. For hours.
And again, same thing, 1,100 acre field, but everything was in a 60-foot square area.
Yeah.
And you just got to find that area. We knew there was a road that went through. We knew there was a house. We even had a guy tell us where he thinks it was, but the map was so close up, there was nothing to give it any landmark. There was no little scale at the bottom that said northeast.
Right.
So we were holding it upside down, and we were over here, and all the good stuff was over here. But eventually we got on it. And
we found it.
We killed it. We got Jersey Coppers, Hibernias.
Oh.
I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I wish we could get on spots like that where you find the home site after 2 hours or 3-4 hours and you go, oh, there's the largies, there's the reals. But I have yet to have anything, like that happen. Oh boy, really just wants to make an appearance, I guess. Keeps
And then
coming
we just
back
kept going back. We probably went to that spot 4 or 5 times.
Oh, easily.
Mhm.
And every time there, we found a nice collection of coins. So.
Yeah, I see somebody in the chat, Matt, said the beauty of Philadelphia is you can pop 1,700s at any moment. And he's right. Good example of that is, Paul lives in a neighborhood that was built in like the late 1950s or so. And he still knocked on his neighbors to detect them. He pulled largies in almost every person's front yard because the houses were built on colonial farm, just plopped down in the 50s when the soldiers were coming back from the war. And it's still all old dirt. They didn't really move a whole lot. You dig a trench, put the pipes in, you push that dirt right back over.
Mhm.
So you can go almost anywhere and have a shot to find stuff. So, you get a house built in the 1950s and you're thinking, well, we're only going to find, maybe Washington quarters. But you never know. You might hit just as much colonial stuff as you were at the colonial farm. And that's one of the really cool things about the East Coast is we were so populated back then that, who knows what could be anywhere.
Yeah, I personally really want to make a trip out there and, even if it's just, a week, just door knock, just to, because like we talked about earlier, it's not what we're used to, right? I'm sure you guys would kill to go to a Civil War site for, like a couple Civil War camps for a week or two and find all the stuff from that time frame. You know what I mean?
Just something different. Just something different. And
we did do a house close to me. And Jason really had a great day there. Actually, a couple good days. But we managed to get some Civil War buttons. I got an artillery button and an infantry button. And another fellow found a bunch of old carbine bullets way in the back out in the woods. But that area was close proximity to the Bucks County, where the Bucks County Brigade trained and then marched through on their way to Philadelphia, and then they shipped down to the Peninsula campaign on the eastern shore of Maryland. But, that area was known to have individuals who trained and marched through. So we were able to collect a few items. Jason actually found what was that token you found? What did they call it?
It was a sutler token. A Civil War era sutler token that was, good for during the Civil War as the soldiers moved, like little like makeshift stores would follow them, to sell them goods. And when the soldiers moved, the store went with them, and it was a token for one of those little stores that went with them. So.
It had the cannons on it, and
it had cannons on it, and I forget what the writing is on it. I have it in this display case. I haven't looked at it in a couple years, but no, cool piece like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We find back in Michigan, I know Brian has a number of Civil War tokens. That was something before I got into metal detecting, I didn't know even existed. I pulled, I think, like 5 or 6 of them out of a single field, and I was like, what are these things? And I didn't know that they were so different and that they could be so rare and everything too, till I really, started diving into the research process of all of those different tokens.
Yeah, tokens are so cool because there's just an unlimited number of tokens. And We love the old tokens. That was one of the things we love about the Thousand Holes field is the
All time.
plethora of tokens we found. They're just so unique. And, I've never seen, 3/4 of them before. And I've seen a lot of tokens, from doing this for a while now. Just such a plethora of them. Same with the buttons.
Yeah.
Just so many of them. It's impossible to memorize them all. At least for me, it is. I'm not real smart like that.
We have found so many different token or buttons.
Yeah, the buttons.
And the time to
And some great guys. Remember the one field, Doug? I nicknamed the different landowners too, because that way, how many landowners named John are you going to bump into?
Right.
So his name, I call him Jersey Devil Jerry. When we went down and did his, not only did he have a huge property, but he said there was an old tavern or store out here. Come hop in the back of my Kubota, and he drove us out to the exact spot. And darn it, if he wasn't dead on right, hundreds of buttons in a small area,
and no trash.
No trash. Every signal on your Equinox, it could be a 1, and if you dig it up, it might be junk, but it's 250-year-old junk all day long.
Those are the best sites. They really are.
And I got my only trime in that field, and I got my first half real there.
I got my first ever Liberty Cap half cent in that field.
Yeah.
And, not only is he a great guy, gave us permission, but he drove us out and said, detect here. And we did. And he was right.
And it worked.
Wow. That's awesome. I wish there was more half cents that came out of Nebraska and Michigan too. I've only ever seen personally one come out of the ground, and we had been there multiple times, and there's actually people there before me too that had stopped out and they missed it. I mean, it was 10 feet from the truck. It was Jake from the Wanderers pulled out a Drake bust half cent, and that's the second oldest coin that I've
beautiful coin seen. Too.
I couldn't believe it. It was the second oldest coin I've seen come out of the ground here in Michigan. And what's a 1808 coin doing, on a 1890s home site? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, like I said, people carried money around, just like you can dig through your pockets every day and you're going to see coins maybe from the 50s, from the 40s. I mean, they're still in circulation. So, and back then, even more so, there wasn't as many coins. Money didn't exchange hands as often, especially in more remote areas. Mm-hmm. So it's probably not that uncommon where you might have a coin that's 80, 100 years old in your pocket.
Yeah.
That's why I said the Spanish reals, we find so many of them, but more than I would have ever thought.
Relatively speaking, yeah.
Because even though they're from the 1750s, they were still openly circulating up into the 1850s. They were still currency. And I think that's why we find as many of them, because they were still actively being traded and being bartered and utilized. So it is pretty amazing that you'll find coins that sometimes predate the site by 100 years or more. It's just one of those exciting blessings you get in this hobby.
Yeah, that's what I love about it is you just, you never know what you're going to get. You think and then as soon as you think you're like, huh, weird. I didn't expect that, Yeah.
I was detecting a house once with a buddy, and I was off of the old sidewalk. And the house went to back, I think, not late 1800s and not like 1870, right? And we'd found a couple old coins and that sort of stuff. But you get a nice signal, and I dig it up, and I'm staring at somebody's dentures from about World War II.
Wow.
And I went and researched and found, those are made this way, and that's from around World War II. So that was interesting.
Was it a nice gold grill in the ground?
No, it was. I don't remember what kind of metal. There's metal in it, but no gold.
I've never found human remains or anything like that.
And then the story, you come up with it's like right by the sidewalk. Was he drunk? Stumbled out of his car, walked in. You never know. But
that's a good item that I'd try to return.
Not too long ago, the guys punked Jason, and if you remember, Jay, I know you do. When somebody found a ring on a skeleton hand.
I remember that. Yep.
That son of a gun.
Oh, he really got you, didn't he?
He really had me going too, because Paul's not much of a trickster. Paul is very,
He's low key.
just so yeah, he really got me. And his only flaw with that is he should have held a straight face longer. He let the cat out of the bag too early, because I was really taken back. Like, what do you do? Like, should I call the cops? Don't touch it, but I want to see what the ring is. It's one of those. No, he got me good. That was a lot of fun. And
Yeah, that one
we do
and
like doing that.
the snake was a good one too. The snake on the metal detector.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one.
Well, that was the revenge for us putting the snake on Joe's machine.
Yeah.
Joe is afraid of snakes, and when Jeff put it on his machine, I mean, it was laying on there perfect, where it looked like he was like ready to attack. It looked awesome.
That's awesome.
Cool. That's the kind of things we do that make the day go that much better.
We got one of our guys with a Morgan dollar, because I have a bunch of Morgan dollars that I bought over the years or whatever, and so we were out at a really nice, not super early home site, probably 1880s, 1890s home site, standing home. So we were in somebody's yard, and all I did was I took my shovel and I just put it as far down in the ground as I could, shoved it in there, and just stepped on it. And 10 minutes later, he came wandering up, and he's like, "Oh, I got a nice one right here." I was like, "You want to live dig it?" He's like, no, it's not that good. And I was like, all right. And I got to watch him dig out a Morgan dollar, freaking out the entire time. And I was like, I put that there. It was good. It was good.
That's tough. That could be heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah, he kept it. It was.
Did he give it back to you?
No, I let him keep it. It was I can't remember why we did it. It was his birthday or something, and so we were all trying to get him riled up and everything, which was good.
No, it's cool to do little things like that. Jeff Ford, again, he would do that with his buddy Mike all the time. He would stand behind him and film, and Mike would be digging, and Jeff would like throw like a mercury dime over his head, so it would land like in the hole or next to the hole. And Jeff be like, "It's sitting right there, Mikey." He was pretty good about it.
Yeah, Jeff's a prankster.
I would love to detect with him. I wish he posted a little bit more nowadays. I know he's super, super busy with work and everything. But I would love to get out and metal.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I flew down there and hunted with him, and he's flown up here.
Hunted with us.
Yeah, great guy.
Mm-hmm.
He opened a gold and silver store, and man, he's doing really well with it. But he's super busy. In fact, he texted me 3 times during the show, so I'll call him back afterwards. But no, great guy, and yeah, I think he's taken a little bit of break because of the store, and his digging partner Mikey's had some health problems, so kind of hoping that he can get back to 100%. But no, they're doing okay. Hopefully they'll be back on putting some videos out again, because they find the kind of stuff I like, and they support each other, and it's kind of like my kind of detecting.
Good wholesome content.
Yeah.
Yes,
absolutely. Practical Ken is wondering if BC Variety Quarter Hoarder and Dog Tag Doug will be at the Digstock event in March.
Oh, next month's one? That one down
North
south?
Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Down North
No,
Carolina.
we won't be to that one. Unless Doug wants to go.
I don't.
I
go
couldn't
anywhere
make it.
without you.
I had family obligations. We went to the last one in whatever it was, October.
New York.
I might try to do the fall one again, but no, the March one didn't work out. And there's a good event this weekend too, the Florida Hunt 8, that I really wanted to go to. And who doesn't want to go to Florida in February, Doug, when it's freezing cold? But family obligations again.
Yep.
So no, I don't think we're going to be at the one next month, but it should be a great event. Pete's got an awesome spot. We just couldn't make it.
And I was there last year. I won't be here. I won't be there this year. I got, too much going on out here. in Nebraska. Brian, I know you're not going either. It's a good event. I really enjoyed it last year. We drove. It was dumb. We drove through the night to get down there, which I wouldn't recommend doing, but it worked out, and it was fun. Just being in a different culture, in a different place. I mean, we went out. The Wanderers. They have 3 guys. They were all out. All of us guys from VC were out. I think we had 12 of us out going to get a seafood broil. Lobster, crawdads, all that stuff, and that was really good.
Yeah. Well, I grew up on a plantation, and hopefully we'll get down there in the fall one of these years before I kick. It's changed a little bit, but I know where all the old homes were and where the big house was, where the slave quarters were. That was everyday life for me growing up on that plantation. So,
Is it still in the family, Doug?
no, it wasn't my dad worked for the owner of the plantation. It was in construction, and it was actually the second largest in the state back in pre-Civil War days. The biggest plantation was only about 10 miles away, but a lot of that, although it's changed, there's a lot that's still intact and still could be hunted. It hasn't been developed that much. So it would be a good place to visit for sure.
I got my plane ticket booked already, and my underwear. I mean, my swimsuit packed too,
If we go, we found gold in the river in the back.
Oh, wow.
Little nuggets and what have you. It's well known for its gold, but we'll give you a call if we go.
Isn't North Carolina known for emeralds too, Doug?
I don't know. I'm not really sure. I
thought there was emerald mines, and maybe I have it wrong. I'm not much of a mineral person, but I thought they were.
That very well may be up in the mountains, but we always look for gold and arrowheads. We had a ton of arrowheads and Native American items, but
that's cool. Have you guys ever done any gold mining recently or anything? Because some of these other detectors on YouTube, right, they do gold mining clips, or they go out to the river, or Brad does garnet hunting sometimes as well. You guys ever do any of that, or?
Nah. At the moment, we're still one-trick ponies, metal detecting, goofing around,
jokes.
having fun. Being colorblind, I'm colorblind, makes it difficult. We try to go out arrowhead hunting, and you're looking for the color, and of these arrowheads on the surface, and I can't see them, so it makes it tough. Even the gold panning and stuff, I can't see the gold color flecks next to the sand flecks. So, weird things like that I really struggle with. So that's why the metal detecting is perfect for me, because the machine hears it. I just dig it up. Yeah. When my eyes have to see it, who knows what I'm going to, pull out with my hand.
Mm-hmm.
I would do it, but I don't know how successful I would be. I'd have to watch Doug find all the gold and be happy for him.
Well, you got the pinpointers. You just put the pinpointer, in the water and take it all the way down.
I would try it. I don't know if I don't know much about gold. If I had a teeny little fleck of gold, would the pinpointer even pick it up? Is it too small? I don't know. I don't know.
No, it's metal. It would pick it up.
Well, I don't know if it would, if it's that tiny. I've ran teeny little pieces of gold over my machine. I didn't even hear it.
Really?
Certain machines.
Yeah.
If it's just that small and thin and tiny. So those little flecks that, granted add up, I don't know if certain metal detectors would even hear it. You might need a higher frequency, and, I don't have much experience with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Are you completely colorblind, Jason?
What's that?
Are you completely colorblind?
I don't know how it would, I don't know how I would describe it, but I can see some colors, I just
Mhm.
don't know what color it is. And then there's some colors that, you know, I don't know if it's blue, purple, gray. Like I can tell that, you know, if it's next to red, I can see that there's two different colors there,
Mhm.
but I don't know what it is. And there could be 19 different shades of blue, purple, gray, and it would all look the same to me. So,
Hmm.
you know, it's hard to explain. That's all I've ever kind of known. So it's not like I feel like I'm being held back or
Right.
anything,
Right.
but you know, other people will say things like, let's go over there next to the brown patch, or let's get, I don't know. I'm like, all right, let's go. I'll just
And
follow you.
yeah, you're right. You
So
wait
you
for them
just
to go
kind of,
first.
I never
He
felt like it
runs
held me
red
back,
lights
but I
all the
know
time.
that there's other clues people are using that I just can't use.
Mhm. Yeah, my sister had a boyfriend, and he couldn't see green or red. They were interchangeable to him,
Yeah, they are to me
and
too.
so we always I shouldn't say we always used to prank him, but he'd ask,
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah.
he'd always ask. He'd be like, "What color is it?" We'd be like, "I don't know. What color do you want it to be?" He'd be like, "I don't know," and we're like, "Great, that's what color it is."
Yeah. That's why I wear black a lot, because black I know will match with everything. Like if I had like I don't know, like a green shirt and I got purple pants or whatever, like I don't want to look like a circus clown. So
Super fly.
because I don't know what matches. I don't know what looks good together,
Mhm.
because it all looks the same to me.
Right.
I wear black because it makes me look thinner.
Yeah.
It does. It does make them look thinner.
Oh, here's a good question. Court order, have you ever forgot to put a banana in the hole, and did you have horrible luck because of it?
Yes, I have, and I'm very superstitious. But sometimes we'll go out, and especially if it's a non-digging day, like we have some days, like usually every Saturday we go out year round. But sometimes we might get together on like a Wednesday if we're off work or whatever, and I might forget to bring the banana. And I've had terrible days, terrible. And I'm not that crazy where I'm like, let's just go home. I don't have a banana. But in the back of your mind, I'm like, darn, if I just would have, maybe brought the banana. So I figure, what's the harm? Why not keep it up? Because I'm superstitious enough.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I try to always bring it. I try to always bury it, but once in a while I forget. And then I do think about it. And I'm like, oh, I'm having a bad day. What's going on? No, I've had bad days when I buried the banana, but
Yeah.
why not put the stupid banana in the hole and let's move on.
We all have. Yeah.
You good, Doug?
How did that start, by the way, for people watching this? What was...
Yeah, I'm starting to lose battery here, and the
No, you're
charger
good.
isn't charging.
Just want
Are
to
you
make
plugged
sure
in, Doug?
What's that?
Are you plugged in?
What's that?
Are you plugged in?
I can't hear you. Yeah,
Right.
I'm plugged in, but it doesn't seem to be charging.
Oh, okay.
I'm plugged in.
All right. I'm sorry, Brian. What did you say?
Oh, I just for people on this, how did that start? The banana in the hole?
Oh, well, it was back in the early days. I detected, I go out all day long and you get hungry, and we don't stop and eat lunch or anything. We just go because we only got one day. We try to maximize the day. So I would bring bananas because my hands would be filthy and I didn't want to have it on a sandwich. And then, the one day, I didn't feel like carrying the banana peel in my bag. So I figured I'm just going to bury it. It's natural. It's not like I'm littering. And the next hole, I got a barber quarter. And the hole after that, I got another barber quarter. And I just thought, like, man, maybe the ground was just so thankful that I gave it something. It returned the favor. Mm-hmm. And I always say, an athlete might wear the same lucky socks every game if they're winning. What's the harm in it? So I'm a little superstitious that way. Mm-hmm. And I brought a banana with me every single time since then. And I bury it on the first hole. That way the ground has all day long to reward me in exchange.
Nice.
So do you just go to the store and pick out bananas and then you have them at home and you eat them as the week goes on, or do you just buy them and
No,
then let them sit on the counter so they, so you don't feel bad about throwing a green banana in the hole or?
no, the ground doesn't care. The ground's just going to use it up. I usually that morning, if I stop and get my morning coffee, the convenience store has bananas and apples. I just grab one to eat because I do like bananas,
Mhm.
and then one to purposely put in the hole.
I like it. I mean, I don't have any superstitions like that. Brian, Doug, do you guys have any superstitions like that?
No, I don't.
No.
Well, that's not true, Doug. Doug tells me that when he used to go fishing, it's actually bad luck to bring bananas on the boat. So Doug never would. Right, you told me that.
I would bring them.
Oh, that's why you never caught anything.
No.
Yeah, Doug's not as superstitious as I am, but
I didn't used to, but now when I go digging, I always have to wear one of the shirts, like a
a lucky shirt.
T-shirt
I have a lucky shirt. Doug has a lucky shirt. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's always going to be a metal detecting shirt now. I've got like 3-4 of them. So yeah.
At this point, a lucky shirt is any shirt that fits me well. You know what I mean? Because I put them in the dryer and they shrink, and then you bend over and you know what happens. So at this point, if the shirt fits me well, it's my lucky shirt. Once I wash it and it shrinks up, it ain't lucky no more.
Mm-hmm. I muted Doug, so it looks like he's getting some help from his assistant. So
my wife helping.
Doug's wife is his tech support.
That's good. That's good.
She's my everything support.
Yeah,
that's true.
I guess the only closest thing I have to a superstition is I guess I don't do it intentionally, but I always put my left glove on first. I always wear gloves when I detect, even in the summer, just because when I first started, I ended up digging up a mason jar lid with a mason jar still attached to it. So when I put my hand in the hole, my whole hand got cut up, and I was like, all right, well, I'm never going to have that happen again. So ever since then, I always wear gloves. And I always put my left one on first, not intentionally. Like I said, just sitting here thinking about it, I was like, I always do that first.
Why it didn't.
Now, if you were going out in the cold just to, go for a walk, would you put on regular gloves, left one first? Like, are you just right-handed, so naturally you use your right hand to put the left one on first?
That's probably it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a superstition, but at least it's
consistent,
a quirk or whatever you call it that you picked up on.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I put my pants on, I always put my left leg in first because I'm left-handed. Just the way I do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Doug doesn't wear pants, so
I know.
Yeah,
I do have
always
one.
commando.
I've never found a horseshoe and not had a good find afterwards.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, we find a lot of horseshoes up here in Michigan, and that's just something I always pick them up, carry them out with me, and I've always had good luck after that. So
wow,
well, that's kind of cool. So you find a horseshoe, and then you're like, yes, what's coming up?
Yeah, it's almost always a coin. So
that's cool. That's a good one to have.
Yeah. Yep.
Now I'm sorry. I did.
No, I was going to say we must be in different parts of Michigan because that's never followed me around anytime I've been in Michigan.
Well, the next time we go together, I'll hand you a horseshoe, and then we'll see.
You'll still dig your coin. All right.
Yeah.
We were out in a farm field, and I found a 4-leaf clover, metal 4-leaf clover. Somebody had lost, and that's the day I found my 2 real in the front yard of the house adjoining the field. So
that's right.
I always carry it with me, but
that's a superstition then, Doug.
Oh, it is.
You carry you carry that metal 4-leaf clover every week in your finds case.
Exactly.
Because I'll be like, Doug, what'd you find? And I'll open his finds case and I'll look in. I'll be like, oh, you found that like 7 months ago. So you carry it every day. That's a superstition, Doug.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Absolutely.
I used to always take an Indian with me from previous hunt to try and, get more Indians, but that's not something that I do anymore.
if it worked for you, you'd still be doing it. But maybe that just didn't work. You got to find the right thing that brings you luck, or at least that tricks your mind into thinking it brings you luck, because it all goes back to getting in that mindset, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I do it, you know. And that's why Doug carries his thing. It makes you feel like, all right, I'm prepared as I can be, even if you know it has no basis in reality.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I will say, I do think the gold coin was good karma, because we were teaching Mike, one of the guys who we call the metal detecting guy. We were teaching him how to use his Nox 800, because he upgraded from a Vanquish, what is it, 340, I think, whatever the smaller one is.
Yeah, 340.
340 to, we got him hooked up with an 800. And so we just went to the field, because, you know, there's already the iron patch there. And I just went, you know, quarter dime, Indian, wheat, whatever, down in a row. And while he was learning that, that was when the gold coin came out. So
wow.
Maybe it's good karma from that.
That's pretty amazing. Your first time out, and you see the gold coin.
Well, he'd actually left, which I don't know why. I think he left because his wife said he needed to come home for something, or he went to go get a jacket.
Well, maybe that was the good karma.
Yeah, maybe the karma was he left.
Maybe.
So every time you go out now, tell him to leave and come back. And
it reversed right after that, because when I was there, then he started finding all the good stuff, and I was like, "Is my machine on? What's wrong here?"
We've all had those days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do that sometimes if it's real quiet. Like after 6 swings, I'll like lift my machine up and like just wave your shovel over it. I'm like, "Are you even on?" You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder. It's like, was it on back there? You know?
Yeah.
Well, the one guy, Jeff Ford again, would sneak up on Mikey and disconnect the coil from his control box. And so Mikey would swing, he'd let him go 40, 50 feet and then, not even noticing, you know what I mean? And they use the CTX 3030s, and I don't own that machine, but I think it has maybe like an on-off button or something. And Jeff shut it off. So Mikey was just walking, not even realizing that it wasn't, even on, or whatever the story was.
Mm-hmm.
So, things like that, just kind of kind of crazy.
We're never that brutal with each other.
No, not that bad.
No, we're not either.
I'd feel bad if Doug walked over, 50 feet and there was something there. Because Paul would come behind you and find it, and then I'd be a real jerk because I unplugged the machine.
Yeah.
Paul seems like a sniper, just kind of out of nowhere, just boom, 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 and then he's gone.
Yeah, I tell Doug, Paul detects like a bat flies. He'll claim that he works in rows, but he detects like this. I'll look down and Paul's 100 feet over there, and then I'll look down and 30 seconds later he's 200 feet over there. So I don't know how he finds anything, but he does.
He's always just everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know. He's just all over like a moth.
One of our guys,
He has no flight pattern. He's everywhere.
We give Chris, one of our guys, we give him a lot of crap, because we'll be right on top of the home site. Indian, 2-center, Indian, Barber dime, and he's 400 yards that way digging a memorial. He's like, why didn't I find anything? We're like, I don't know. You were over there, maybe. We give him a lot of crap for that.
Yeah. We've had a few days like that.
Yeah, I can remember.
I won't even say anything, Doug. I won't even say anything. But we've had days like that where one of us didn't go where the rest of us were and missed out on amazing things all day long.
Now, in my defense, all I was getting were nails. I was so frustrated. These guys were pulling up cool buttons, largies of every...
literally dozens of them, and he wouldn't come into the area.
I ended up going, 2 miles away. I did get one largie, but it was just like a ghost town. Nothing. And these guys, every now and then you'd see them all huddling. And then, what the heck are they doing that I'm not, But now I know better. I learned my lesson.
Yeah, Nick found...
You can teach an old dog new tricks, but takes a little longer.
You got to go where the fish are, right, Doug?
That's right. That's right.
I remember we were filming a video. We called this field train station field because there's a old watering well for a train station and a whole bunch of buildings in there. And we were down on some of the buildings and we were like, well, we're going to go to the other side of the field. And I was like, no, I'm staying down here. There's way more stuff down here. And I, of course, had the camera on my back and everything. And as soon as they get up there, I think we had like 14 guys that day. And everyone just right together. And I was like, uh-oh. That's not good. And I was at least a half a mile away from him. And I was like, oh no, I'm missing out. And I was like, well, once isn't so bad. And then like 2 minutes later, they all went together again. And I was like, all right, well, I better get back up there.
Yeah. When you see everyone converge into a little circle like a football huddle, you know something magical just happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we are too. Like, I can find anything, and I know Doug's going to come over. Doug and me will support each other. It's got to be something incredible for Paul to walk 10 feet out of his way to come look at it. So if you see Paul over there, something good
it's something good.
He don't care. If he didn't find it, who cares? So when you see Paul huddling around, man, something good. So everyone will get over and take a look at it.
But Paul also is the one that walks a football or 2 football fields away from you and is doing his little thing. So he's not so inclined to huddle with the rest of us because he's got too far to walk. But Jason will kind of give instructions in the beginning. Let's all stay together. We want to stay close enough that we can interact with each other, and it pays off. The videos prove how that works, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like to stay somewhat near each other. I mean, I don't care if they want to go over here, over there. Well, then we'll all kind of go together. But, if one guy goes way over here, one guy goes way over there, and you're too far to even see it, like, what's the point? Why do we even come as a group? Let's stay together and enjoy each other's finds and, things like that. We'll eventually get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, here's I'll put a comment up here. That was when Nick found his KG3. That's one of the only KG3s that we've seen come out in Michigan.
Nice.
And that was out of that train station field.
Wow, really?
There's a 1853 seated quarter that came out of there. Ton of Indians. 1798 drape bust, or is that a lip cap or drape bust? I can't remember.
That's a drape bust. 98 would be a drape bust.
Yeah, 98 largey came out of there. That's our group chat profile picture still, just because that's the oldest coin we've ever seen come out of Michigan.
What kind of shape was it in?
Not good.
No.
Wicked Digger. I am from Nebraska and Michigan. Brian is from Michigan. I'll see if I have a picture of it here somewhere.
Wicked Digger? I know him. He's a good dude. We met him up at Digstock, Doug.
Yes.
You guys probably meet a ton of people when you go to the events like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, we do. You try to remember everybody's name, which is tough.
Easy.
Again, the nicknames are great. I mean, you meet 93 guys named John, but you only meet one guy named Wicked Digger. You remember that guy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Again, the nicknames are so important. I think it's just kind of
personalized,
adds personality to your name right from Jump Street. And I kind of get an idea who you are.
That makes sense. I'm looking for a picture of this coin. I know I have it somewhere. I just gotta find it.
See Peachy Prospectors here. How you doing? And Eve, she came in a long time ago. Those ladies have been cleaning up lately. Wow. I mean, like Peachy Prospector, she's already found her first Civil War buckle.
Nice.
I think it was on her property too. She's not been at it too long. I haven't found one of those.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. She could probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was a CSA. Incomplete, not snapped in half or any of that.
Oh, I might not have a picture of this here. Swing for the ring. I'm in Nebraska right now, man. If I'm back in Grand Rapids, I will let you know. But I am living in Nebraska.
Yeah, Chandler usually will call up or text and say, "Hey, I'm going to be back home tomorrow. Can you go out?"
Yeah,
I know
that's
you
usually
work
how
full
that's
time.
usually how it goes. Yeah, it's a Wednesday morning and I'm gonna be home. Sorry, you have to take a day off now.
Well, I'm never sorry to
And
take a
talk
day
about
off.
big fields. I'd guess like a big field in Nebraska is probably like 150,000 acre field, right? Where a big field
Yeah,
we are is like 30 acres.
it's crazy how like even from my apartment, like I can just see for miles and miles and miles. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, there used to be one home site out there, I'm sure.
You field
I'm
hunted since you've been out there, haven't you? I thought you did. I thought you found a shield nickel or something out there.
Yeah, I've been pounding the heck out of one field recently. And that's the only place that's really been thawed out here. I've got 5 field permissions right now, but I've only been able to get into 2 of them. One of them I tried to get into. I found um, this badge right here. I guess it's from like the livestock stockyard committee from South Omaha back around turn of the century, 1900 or so, which was cool. And I think that's going to be a really good site when it opens up or when it unfreezes a little bit, but it is still February.
Now, when will they start planning out there? April?
Well, that's my guess. All the guys that I've talked to out here said they usually start planning in April, but I moved out here in May. So to be 100% honest, I'm not really sure when it's going to be. I'm hoping April because I've been able to detect in January, December, and February so far. So if we can start like end of March or beginning of March, that would be really really good.
Cool.
Yeah, March is one of my favorite times because the ground is warm, the days are longer, the ground's not frozen, they didn't plant yet. That's some of the best times.
Temperatures are moderate.
Yeah, and you're good. And then April, it's still good, but you're seeing them starting to plow. Like I'm going to lose that field, we're going to lose that field, and But March is usually good. Hunting season's over, so you don't think about running into a hunter. It's just a nice time for us because everything kind of lines up in that March time frame. So we'll see how it goes this year, Dougie.
March and like October are the 2 longest months because if you have farmers that get crops out, on time, that's great. But if they don't get their stuff out on time, it's like, oh man, when are you going to get it out? It's basically Thanksgiving,
Yeah, we've had that. We've had farmers, Doug, where they left those soybeans in the ground so long, and I was just driving by, like, when are you going to get these soybeans out of there?
Well, the problem is if they cut them too soon, they got to put them in dryers, and that costs money. That cuts their profit down. So they'll leave them out in the field, let them dry as much as they can, and sometimes that's into Thanksgiving, beginning of December. And that cuts. Now, when they grow soybean, it's good for us because they cut that right down to the ground where corn frequently is left, a 4-foot stalk, and you got to try to work around that. But the soybean is easy to get through once they cut it.
Yeah, soybean's great. I mean, out here they usually alternate. 1 year is corn, the next year is soybeans. So you kind of like every other year you're going to the spots.
Yeah.
And then some guys grow alfalfa. And I don't know if you've ever dug in alfalfa fields, but it is so dense and their roots are so hard to get through. I hate alfalfa. Even though you can swing real low, it's a pain in the butt to dig through.
Yep.
Well, that oldest coin I found in an alfalfa field.
Really?
Yeah, that French 1700s one. Yeah.
There's good stuff in there. It's just hard to get to that good stuff.
Yeah. got to work for it, and you always feel like you're killing it. You know, you're digging one out. And,
Yeah.
Oh, you're not going to hurt it.
You know,
Mhm.
no, I know you're not. I mean, I grew up around farming, but you always feel that way. You know.
Yeah.
I was able to find a picture of that drape bust that was
Oh,
found.
Ooh, yeah.
He didn't hit it. It's just, you know, been with the plow. But
Oh, I can
that's
see the 8 from 1898. Yeah.
Mhm. I was so happy that we were able to get a date on it. The other side is it might be this picture. No, so it's going to be this one.
That's a pretty darn good looking one there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I mean, it came out for being a farm field coin. I mean, it's still in pretty good shape.
Yeah, no, that does look good.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's a beautiful coin. I mean, yeah, those are nice. The Liberty caps are my favorite copper because they're just so darn thick that they usually have a lot of detail on them because it was just a thick coin, and it's got the writing around the outside of the rim, which I like. And Paul busts my chops because over the years I find a lot of Liberty caps. I probably have 14 or 15, and it's a really rare coin. I've just been fortunate to get over the Liberty caps. But the Drake bust is a beautiful coin. Doug just got well, I don't want to say the video.
Spoiler.
Yeah, I forget I said anything, Chandler. Something really good coming up soon.
Yeah.
No, they are amazing. And last year I knocked a good one off my bucket list, for all the old half cents, and we've gotten almost all of them. I mean, Liberty caps, classic heads, everything. None of us ever found a braided hair half cent, which would be the newest half cent, but they didn't make nearly as many because by then a half a penny just wasn't worth as much. And none of us had ever found one. And we were at this Christmas tree farm, and I was doing in the guy's front yard and pulled an absolutely beautiful braided hair half cent. I think it was 1850. And there was like 32,000 of them made, really low number. And it was in beautiful shape too. It was gorgeous. So man, that felt nice to knock that off the list. I'm not even sure how I led to that segue. He showed me the coin, made me think of my favorite coins.
Yeah. And what you do when you find something in a hole, what do you do?
You talking to me? I don't know. We're taking a nap.
Detecting 101. What do you do?
Oh, you're trying to say recheck the hole?
Yeah, recheck the hole.
Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
And sometimes, how many times, Jay?
Well, if you remember though, in my defense,
Okay.
Here's what happened is because I was starting off in the front yard, I put a small coil on my machine. I had the Amphibia that day.
Right.
So I was doing it on the front yard. I had a good signal, and I got a copper coin out of the signal. I forget what it was. I did recheck the hole, got a second copper coin in the exact same hole. Super stoked. Checked it again, nothing, covered it up. Later in the day, hours later, I went back to the car and I put a big coil on because I was going to go into the fields. But I said, well, let me take a pass around the house on the way to the fields. And in the exact same hole that I pulled the two coppers, I had a deep signal. So I opened up the plug that I already put back, and down deeper was this braided hair half cent in the exact same hole. And then I also in the same hole got a dandy button. So 4 targets in the same hole, but it took me 2 different coils, 2 different parts of the day to get them all out of there.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
But
crazy.
it's more fun busting on them.
And we found some amazing things in his front yard. Someone found a William III in that front yard.
Yeah.
We probably found 3 coppers. I think Paul found 2 shoes. The homeowner, I brought a simplex for the homeowner. The homeowner pulled a shoe buckle out of his own front yard.
Right.
That was a great spot. Doug found the old wax seal that had the original homeowner's initial engraved in it. That was super cool.
Yeah.
That was an amazing spot.
It was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Well, guys, I have dinner here, so if you guys want to keep talking and hanging out, be my guest. I'll just step
I'm
away
hungry
for a little
too,
bit.
actually.
But if you guys are ready to be, done, I could do that. Like I said, I could do this all night long. We could stay up till 3 a.m. having the time bar. Well, we'd have to wake Doug up every probably 20 minutes or so. But
probably.
but thank you guys for coming on so much. I really appreciate it. I know
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah,
fun talking to the guys, behind the camera and everything, and the guys in front of the camera for the ladies like Doug. It's always good to hear their perspective too. And but we really do appreciate it, all jokes aside. So
Yeah.
appreciate you guys coming on. Thanks everyone
Thanks
for
for having us
stopping
on, man. I
out.
appreciate it.
Great to
It was
meet you.
fun.
All.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Good luck out
absolutely.
there.
All right.
Absolutely.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for
Take
having
care.
us on. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks guys
Take
for
care.
stopping out. Hey, take care now.
Later.
Stay safe and healthy.